I'm watching every 90s anime in release order, starting with the winter season of 1990. If a show released before that, I won't be covering it. If a show has a season 1 that came out before 1990, I won't be watching season 2 or any of the movies or specials that came out in the 90s. I'll watch the entirety of every show, minus a few exceptions here and there. I'll cover those when I get there. Often an anime releasing for the winter season will release in December of the year prior. So the year of 1990 anime starts in December of 1989. And that's where we're starting. Of course, spoiler warnings. First up, releasing December 2nd, 1989, Dragon Quest. Legend of the Hero Abel. This one's 43 episodes, released as Dragon Warrior for the West. This one stars our heroes Abel and Tiara. They live in this wonderful, peaceful village. Abel likes to go fishing and chilling, but Tiara's always making her wacky flying machine, and Abel's always got to be her test pilot. Well, one day the evil Baramos shows up in his evil sky fortress and kidnaps Tiara, Abel being powerless to stop him. This is when he learns some lore. Tiara is the holder of the red orb, which can awaken an ancient dragon. Abel is the holder of the blue orb, which can seal the dragon away. And Baramos wants to summon the dragon. The whole show, I don't remember them saying why he wanted to summon the dragon. I just assumed it was for power. I was half right, you'll see. So the village elder explains all of this to Abel and gives him some supplies for the road. He sets out to get Tiara back and fulfill his destiny. First, he needs to go see the king for more information. Another villager, Moko Moko, he tags along, but not because he likes Abel or anything. It's for Tiara. Abel meets with the king, who gives him a sword and some money because it's too dangerous to go. Can't just go alone. Take this. He starts his adventure to solve the dragon legend, and he makes some friends along the way, a fighter named Daisy and a mage named Yanak. The dragon legend is on these tablets that are spread across the world, each one telling a bit more of the legend. They're spread out to make sure that Abel has to travel across the world far and wide, helping people all over the place until he becomes strong enough to beat Baramos. The show is based on the Dragon Quest games, using things from the first 4, but it mostly takes from Dragon Quest 3. The only Dragon Quest I played was 9 for the DS, but I loved it. So seeing things from the game like the slimes in the anime was pretty cool. Look at them jumping around. These fools could be getting so much experience. Monsters turn into gems. Also, when they use spells from the game, he gets rewards just like an RPG. They get a summon. Oh, the next time on screen, like the next time on this show screen is like a game screen, like the menu. Oh, like they're going to save. It's very cool. Excellent touch. It also shows the terrifying reality of having to fight some of these monsters. Look at these giant frogs just swallowing people. Also, Dragon Quest art is Akira Toriyama art, so that's always cool. This whole show looks like people Goku helps out on side quests in Dragon Ball. So they go on their adventure and they're helping villages out. And who could forget the time he returned this stone to Thundara, or when he met these ladies. Look at the jewels on their head. Their foreheads look huge. Or every time he has to fight General Red Piccolo. Look at this is like a red version of Surf, the way the water goes up. Or that time Daisy got spider goo on her face. Oh man, I've seen this one. Yo, that's a clean combo though. And this little boy is jacked. And I thought it was just going to be one of those regular adventure shows where the plot progresses, but you know, every episode is almost standalone. But it was more than that. People they save come back to help them. And some of the villages they save get messed up again by the bad guys. And things get pretty real in this one fight. Like the show went from nearly 0 blood to all this. About halfway through the show, Tiara breaks free on her own. I 100% thought she was going to be the damsel in distress the entire show, but she holds her own for it later. Eventually they split up into 2 groups on their own missions. But some of the characters, you know, they get their own side quests. Daisy and her brother, she had this brother named Toby who was stolen by General Red Piccolo and raised to be evil. Well, she has to fight him. She doesn't want to, and it gets sad. Towards the end of the fight, General Red Piccolo just does away with Toby. He doesn't care. He's gonna kill all the heroes at once and just use Toby like that. Well, Toby seems to feel something for Daisy, and he gets in the way of the blast. Then as Toby is dying, he says he's loyal to Red Piccolo, and Daisy's brother is gone. Not even a nice goodbye. Daisy gets no closure. It was not the happy adventure show ending to that plot that I was expecting. This is the Donga. He's a swell guy. He's a big, lovable dum-dum. He was guarding Tiara in the evil floating sky fortress. But when she escaped, he went with her, and now he protects her. They travel around a lot, and he's part of the group. They count on him. And he fights back against Baramos. Oh, and doesn't turn evil, because Baramos he can control him and tries to turn him evil, but he fights back. But then later he dies protecting Tiara. He's around for so long. I really thought he was gonna get back up after this attack. It broke my heart. It choked me up. He was so lovable and dumb and big from Sonic. This is Abel's father. He disappeared when Abel was really small. Guess what happened? He was stolen by evil Red Piccolo, made to wear this helmet and fight for him. Well, one day he's fighting Abel for probably the third time, I think. Realizes it's his dad, breaks the helmet off of him, and they reunite. Yeah! Well, Evil Red Piccolo shows up and he dukes it out with the dad alone. The dad's, it's a stand back, Abel. This fight is mine situation. Well, Evil Red Piccolo kills Papa, but Papa cuts his arm off, and then he dies in Abel's arms. But now Evil Red Piccolo is missing an arm. Oh wait, it's back the next time they see him, so his father died for nothing. Bottomos summons the dragon around the end of the show, and you know what? It's this little baby dragon. It's so cute. And Bottomos grabs it, with small fat Piccolo here, and they slit its neck to drink its blood. When he started doing it, I was shocked. I thought he just wanted a dragon. They have to fight Bottomos at the end, and Bottomos, he's beating everybody. It takes the whole kingdom, and he wins for most of it. He keeps a lightsaber in his arm. He's the clear winner here until Abel comes through with the power of the dragon. All in all, it's a decent show. I give it the dragon sounds like a cat. Out of 10. Up next, releasing December 21st, 1989, Assemble Insert. This was two 30-minute episodes. There's an evil group called Demon Seed that has big robots and robs banks, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Nothing. They have giant robots and nobody else does. So the government makes the Counter Demon Seed headquarters, a group of washed up cops that they've assigned to a problem that they never expect to be solved. Everyone's just gonna deal with Demon Seed forever. There's an old engineer who's made a super suit, and he tells the headquarters he'll give it to them to defeat Demon Seed. So they hold a talent show to see who will get picked to wear the super suit. Yeah, they deny a lot of contestants, but the last one to show up is our hero, Marin. She gets nervous on stage and ends up twisting the microphone with her finger like a string. Strong. And then she wins. They put the suit on her and they're gonna make her an idol. Demon Seed's evil lair is his evil house, and these kids go, haha, I bet this is where Demon Seed lives. And it cuts to the leader inside going, haha, no one notices we live here. The show's kind of funny. Demon is the leader of Demon Seed, and that makes you think if it's Demon Seed and he's Demon, it's his seed. He calls the wrong number thinking it's the police. It's this lady at a noodle shop. I love her confused expression. Demon tells them he's gonna attack a fancy museum, and then the noodle shop calls the cops to let them know. And then the Counter Demon Seed headquarters, they decide that that's where Marin's gonna make her debut, that museum, her idol / crime fighting debut. The bad guys show up and Marin's all nervous at first, but she gets out there and beats up two of them very easy. Then her team goes, yeah, now sing a song. So she starts to sing while beating up the bad guys. She throws them out of the building and they win, but she caused a lot of damage, so it's a win-loss. 3 months go by without Demon Seed attacking again, and their budget is getting pretty low. They decide to make Marin an idol singer. They get her a gig on TV. When it's her time to sing, she gets nervous. She crushes the mic and destroys the whole set, but everyone falls in love with it because she's a klutz, and she gets hella pop. Cut to Demon Seed, they've run out of money and they're scared to come out and do some crimes, man, because of Marin. Well, Marin's idol career is going great, but the dude who made the super suit doesn't like it because his suit's not getting used. So he sends Demon Seed a bunch of super suits so they can cause problems. Just cause some problems. Demon Seed calls in their next attack to the noodle shop again, and they let the cops know. Marin's team tells her, yo, don't worry about it, just be an idol and we'll go fight the crime. But she never wanted to be an idol anyways, so she goes and beats up Demon Seed. They get yelled at because she causes even more damage, and they all go back to headquarters and play some Uno. Had a solid opening song. I give it, there's a gas station called Asso out of 10. Up next, releasing December 21st, 1990, Shuten Doji. This is 4 45-minute episodes based on 9 volumes of manga by Go Nagai, the man who created Devilman and Mazinger Z. This one's kind of wild, which is why I made an 18+ version of this video that's on Patreon, because it's stuff I can't put on YouTube. But you'll still understand everything that happens. I'll just leave a few gory details out. The train is about to go off the rails, and as we all know, a train needs rails. This married couple, Ryo and Kyoko, they're at a shrine when these two enormous Oni start fighting. Blah, blah. One of them has a baby in its mouth. It gives the baby to the couple and tells them, raise the boy as if he were your own. I will be back for him in 15 years. Well, guess which 14-year-old's birthday is coming up? Our hero Jiro's, of course. One thing I really liked about this is the parents have told him about the Onis coming to take him away. They aren't just gonna spring it on him like, oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you that when you turn 15, you gotta go to Demon Land, maybe. No. My man's prepped and he's terrified. And things are starting to get kind of weird for him. On his way home from school, he's gonna get hit by that truck that kills Japanese cartoon characters, but a force field comes up on his body and and knocks him to the wall. He dreams of Onis and he thinks he wakes up from the nightmare just to still be in the dream. Y'all hate when that happens. This is Miyuki. She's a classmate that's in love with Jiro. There's these evil priests and they follow Dai Ongokushi Jirai, the evil god of all Oni, and they start messing with Jiro. They believe that he is the shuten doji, the chosen one who will kill Dai Ongokushi Jirai. And Oni shapeshifts into Miyuki. So they use them to trick Jiro to show up here and they start messing with him. The Oni puts him in this weird dream dimension and he thinks this is a trap. He's just in a dream and he sees his mom there. So he chokes her out. But after she goes limp, he thinks, oh, this wasn't a dream. Oh no. But it was a dream. The Oni was double messing with him. The Oni's about to get him in this dream when Goki shows up. Goki is one of the two Oni that are destined to protect Jiro and take him away on his 15th birthday. Goki protects him, and then they go through a portal and end up back in the real world. The mural that the weird cultists have that believe in Dai Ongokushi Jirai, Jiro looked like lying on his mural. So now Jiro's got to fight this Oni cult. They're hunting him and he gets 5 homies in the fight. Yusuke, he's Miyuki's brother. Ricky, just jacked. Ricky's just jacked. Goyayashi, he's a beef for himself. Now, who has grenades? Multiple. He came prepared to fight Oni. And Kaji has glasses. They're all from families who for centuries have passed down the legend that they will one day protect the shuten doji. You're thinking that this is what this show's about, aren't you? About this ragtag group of friends fighting off this Oni cult, huh? Don't be fooled. They all get chased by this big Oni, and all these people who are here to protect the shuten doji, to protect them during Oni fights, can't do anything. They seem ill prepared to fight Oni. Now gets grabbed and he's like, I'm gonna die anyways. So he sets off grenades point blank at the Oni. 4 friends left. Watch your grenade boy die. Jiro goes all shuten doji on the Oni. He gets yellow hair and summons a sword and slices it, slice and die. He kills it. Later that night, the Oni cult kidnaps his dad, mom, and Miyuki and sends them a letter of challenge, and they show up for the fight. Everyone brings different weapons. Ricky brings a chain stick. Koyayashi brings his muscles. Kaji can use telekinesis. Where was this when Now was dying? Jiro brings a sword, and Yusuke brings a shotgun. The grenade guy is dead, or I'm sure he would have brought several grenades. And then all the friends who have been training their whole lives to protect the shuten doji, who just met him, all fall one by one. After the battle, only Jiro and Ricky are left standing. They free his dad and Goki shows up. Where were you during Goki? Now it's time to fight Yonin, the main priest of the cult. And during that fight, Ricky dies protecting Shiro. All the friends he just met, people who are passing down this ancient family line thing that's supposed to protect the shuten doji, all gone. And things are looking grim when Senki shows up. Senki's the big blue one that had him in his mouth at the start of the show. Now, the evil priest is holding his mom and Miyuki hostage on the same floating cross. And then he uses that classic clothes disintegrating, gets Miyuki's clothes, but not his mom's. And then, stay with me, Jiro defeats the priest very easily by walking up to him slowly and cutting him. Yonin is still alive though, and he's going to kill Jiro's mother when he sees her head on top of the dry statue that he prays to. And then Goki finishes him off. After the fight, Senki grabs Jiro and does a "my people need me" off into space. Miyuki begs Goki to let her go with Jiro, and she gets floated away too. Mama starts going a little bit crazy. Understandably, her son just got stolen by Oni, and now she hates Onis. She ends up in a mental hospital, where all she does now is paint creepy stuff on the walls. That's the end of episode 2. Why did Ricky have to die? Episode 3. So they're fighting Oni in this space vortex, trying to get to Angokukai, the Oni world. The shuten doji is supposed to save the Oni world. That's why he has to go back. During the fight, a bunch of portals open up that'll send you to different places, and one sucks up Senki, and the group goes to follow so they don't get separated, but Jiro gets separated, and he ends up in the year 2100, drifting in space for an unspecified amount of time, until he encounters the space battleship Alphard and its crew. And he's big now. He's been wandering around in space so long he lost his sense of scale, so he decides to turn human size again. He can just do that. The shuten doji power. He asks for their help finding Earth, and they're iffy about it, and they run a scan on him to see what he's all about. They find out he's made up of light and conscious energy. There's this robot soldier here, and his name is Iron Caesar. He's the son of one of the priests that Jiro killed. He watched his father die and has been waiting over 100 years to get his revenge on Jiro. Well, Iron Caesar kills half the ship trying to kill Jiro. Then it cuts to the others who are in medieval Japan. They're creating the myths of Oni to try and send a message to Jiro from the past. It's them trying to start the legend of the shuten doji. The off-hard crew use an experimental time machine to send Jiro back to ancient Japan, and they look up when the shuten doji rumor started, and hey, would you look at that? Our hero, the other guys are doing that, and then boom, they send him there. He makes it. Well, Iron Caesar goes through the time machine too, but when he shows up on the other side, he turns into a big Oni head that hits Jiro with some kind of energy and then just disappears. And these locals in ancient Japan see that, and thus the legend of shuten doji is solidified. The group reunites, yeah! Episode 4. Now that they're back together, it's time to go to Angokukai and defeat Dai Ongokushi Jirai. The entrance to Angokukai looks like ruins on the outside with the solar system on the inside. And go in there and they arrive on this wasteland of a planet where there's just a bunch of Oni everywhere. In Angokukai, everything appears out of nowhere. Everything is born from nothing. Things just pop into existence. And then they start fighting Oni big time, yeah! Cut to Jiro's mom in the mental hospital. The doctors fear she's only getting worse. She's still painting on the walls, lots of violence and Onis. Her husband brings some family to try to encourage her to paint something nice. He even paints baby Jiro on the wall. He paints her husband but then changes it to Goki, and her husband figures it out. Ever since the Oni took away Jiro, his mother has hated them. So she went mad and started painting Oni on the walls of her hospital room. She hated them so much that she put her whole being, her soul, into the painting. And when Jiro and the crew finally get to Dai Ongokushi Jirai, it really is his mom. She created Angokukai as a place where Oni would kill each other endlessly because she hates them for taking away her son. The world she imagined became real. That's why the Oni are always fighting each other in Angokukai. When he painted baby Jiro on the wall, it created it. Then she made Senki and Goki to bring him to them. That's why Angokukai looks like that in space. Those walls, it's the walls of her hospital room. Wow, her husband's like, oh, okay, yeah, I figured it out. It's okay. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, so he's jumping. It seems obvious to him, but if I don't know, if I was in that situation, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, she crazy. So his father decides to take a sledgehammer and destroy the walls of her hospital room to free his wife's soul. As he's doing that, the real Angokukai is starting to crumble. After Ryu finishes smashing the walls, Kyoko wakes up. Yo, the bill for destroying that wall would be crazy. She's all, you did it. Angokukai is destroyed, but the Oni who survived are still real. Goki's gonna go back in time to make sure that the families that will one day protect the shuten doji exist. Seki's gonna take the rest of the surviving Oni and find a new planet. Jiro and Miyuki, they're gonna go back to Earth to meet up with his parents. People that died fighting for Jiro, they're still there. It's a happy ending. I give this one a, if they didn't create baby Jiro until after they knew baby Jiro, then how did they create baby Jiro? There's a paradox there. Out of 10. Up next, releasing December 22nd, 1989, B-Boy Kidnapping Idol. This is a 125-minute episode. Kazuo here just recently became an idol. He has a friend/boyfriend named Akihiko. Their relationships become a little strained though. So we got them handles on the court. One day they get kidnapped. This weird guy hired some thugs to get them because he wants to do naked stuff to Kazuya. And then the same boss thug who kidnapped them decides to let them escape because they love each other and they love each other. That's it. It was short. That's pretty much all that happened. I give it, he ate spaghetti with his bare hand out of 10. Up next, releasing sometime in early 1990 because no site seems to agree. The Enemies, the Pirates, The Cat's Banquet. So there is a sub for this show and it's fine, but the dub is so bad.
I've got heartburn from eating your roasting.
It's good. When I watch a bad dub, I think these people speak English. They have conversations with other English speakers, so they understand. They have to understand that how the way they said what they just said didn't make sense, but they do one take and send it. This one stars our heroes Apollo and Littell. Apollo is an anthropomorphic black cat that can control people's moods. Littell is a human. They're partners in pirate cops that travel through space and stop pirates with their trusty spaceship Dola and their co-worker Marsha. They all rag on each other, but it's tough love because at the end of the day, they always work together to get the bad guy. And I think the name of the show is The Enemies Are Pirates, or it should be that. Everything I've found is The Enemies, the Pirates, but because there's this one point where they like clap, they're like,
Our enemies are pirates.
So I feel like it was supposed to be their catchphrase, but it just fell apart. It's like the plot of this show. The first plot. So they get fired, but not really. They get fired and they get sent on their way, but as they're getting fired, the boss gives them an assignment. So I was immediately confused. Are they fired or not? But it turns out not. So they have to go to this movie company. They make which this part was actually, the concept was cool. It's movies, but they're like projected 3D hologram movies. It looked pretty cool. So they have to go in there, and there's this thing called the CAT program. It can take what you imagine and make it real. So they had this guy plugged into this thing, and the things that he's imagining, like he imagines these zombies and monsters for them to fight, and some of them become real and they have to fight them. He's also believing that he's a dragon, so he starts to become a dragon. That's what that is. And it's being controlled by this one pirate named Yomi. Yomi doesn't like Apollo because Apollo stopped him in the past. Apollo's kind of notorious as a really good pirate cop. So that's the first plot. The second plot, they play baseball. There's this other guy who's a good guy. I think he's in the army or he's a pirate cop or something, but he does not like Apollo. So they have a baseball game about it. And the baseball game just gets progressively more out of control. At a certain point, they're like, hey, can we use our power suits? And they go, yeah, sure, use the power. This is all being televised in their world. So yeah, get the power suits on, and those are crazy. And then their spaceship ends up as a batter and runs the bases. And then the third plot, because that was the baseball game was the second plot. The same CAT program, well, it starts turning people on this planet into cats.
Micro antennas are sprayed into the air like a fog. CAT links up with the humans through the antennas.
If CAT orders anyone to become a cat, that person becomes a cat.
The thing is a big, fat, purple cat, and they gotta beat it, and that's how they save the day. And that's about all I could gather. I feel stressed. Now, I just want to play you some examples of the terrible dub.
I think it'll be great to be a pirate. Then I can eat anything I like, just like a honky. I go now. Thanks, Chief, for everything.
You better live in the ground, buddy. And I'll help dig a hole and bury you. Throw in chocolate cookies for you, too.
But before that, I have one request.
What's that?
Let's play baseball.
Attack them with lasers, man. We're not authorized to release those punks that killed my brother. They killed a lot of my family, too.
And now I present Jubilee.
Congratulations, evil cats. From now on, it looks like you're the chief of Siva group, okay? Cats is deeper into this base than I ever expected. I can't wait to see cats. I remember Malgan Salad. What do you want me to do, Yomi? Yeah, why not? A rematch with the pirate officers. Weird.
The music throughout the show is top notch though. Everything, all the songs could have been on a list of power ballads that you could buy for only 3 installments of $9.99. I give this one, man, I could have been a voice actor for this show. Give me a line. Oh man, everything in here is always some kind of way. That's a big kitty. Out of 10. Up next, releasing January 7th, 1990. Chibi Maruko-chan. This one's about a little elementary school girl named Maruko. It's a little chibi comedy about her and her friends and her family, and you get some life lessons. The art kind of reminds me of Animal Crossing. I would categorize this as a cozy kid show. Oh, what's that? It has 1,400 episodes? No, I didn't watch them all, but I did watch enough for both of us. The opening and ending songs were great. Look at my man on the flute. I give it her chilling on that camel. Out of 10. Up next, releasing January 14th, 1990, My Daddy Longlegs, based on the novel by Gene Webster that released in 1912. This was 40 episodes. Judy is an orphan at an orphanage with other orphans. She's a bit of a klutz, but she's a good person. She's always helping out the younger kids. One day, some sponsors are visiting the orphanage to give one of them the chance to go to high school. Just high school, not even college. Orphans got it rough. Well, she klutzes all over the meeting and nobody wants her or any of the orphans, so they leave. But later that night, some other orphan sponsorer shows up and sponsors Judy. But before she can thank him, he's on the way out of the house and all she can see of him is a shadow of his long legs. So she calls him Daddy Long Legs. She starts going to one of them live-in high schools. Then she makes some friends and gets to live a not entirely orphan life. She makes a quick friend named Sally here. She gets an allowance and buys some furniture for her dorm. And when she did that is the first time I noticed that this is set in the early 1900s because she bought this whole desk for $3. On her first day of school, her assignment is to write an essay about her family. But she's an orphan. So she writes about being an orphan, but not about growing up in an orphanage. She's ashamed. She's supposed to write letters to her sponsor and update him on her life, but he will never write her back directly. He'll only correspond with her through one of his servants. So she always wonders what kind of person he is. First, she meets her friend's uncle, Jervis, who takes a bit of an interest in her. He sends her chocolate and stuff. He's 27. She spends one of her summer breaks on a farm. She milks a cow and gets hit in the face with some milk. She's a kid, you sicko. You do be drinking it out the udder though. Also, Judy got them handles on the court. She gets a friend that gets sick, but then gets better. She gets a part-time job as a tutor. She starts thinking about going to college. She gets caught in a storm one time, then dodges a tree that's on fire. Whoa! After it's struck by lightning, then slips down a cliff and goes real far one time. It was scary. There's also this weird romance that she starts having with Jarvis. Look, she's high school age. In the novel, she's in college, not here, so they should have changed some of that. And it's set in 1912, so nobody around seems to care or they even encourage it. But I'm in 2024, pretending I'm in 1990, so it's just weird to me. Most of the show is her living her life, having some problems here and there, and wanting to know who her mysterious daddy Longlegs is. One day, Jarvis proposes to her, but because of a lot of drama with rich people and her being poor and some of them finding out her real background, how she grew up in an orphanage, she turns him down because of all that pressure, even though she loves him. Time to graduate. She graduates at the top of her class and gives a big speech, and she finally reveals to everyone that she grew up in an orphanage, and that if she can do it, you can do it too. And everybody cheers. Whoa! She never had a reason to be ashamed. The orphan was in us the whole time. Then at the end of the show, she figures out that the mysterious benefactor who has been supporting her all this time is in fact the creepy 27-year-old who proposed to her. Isn't that great? They get married. That's it. It's a little slice of life show. Not terrible. My only issue is the age gap thing, for real. The opening song did not hit with me. I like the ending song more. I give it that milk part again because it always makes me laugh. Out of 10. Up next, releasing January 26, 1990, The Dark Myth. This show is 2 50-minute episodes based on a 1-volume manga from the 70s. It was not only lore heavy, but if you got distracted for a second, you were missing something because they talk a lot. I'm gonna give it to you in the chronological order of events instead of the way the show gave it to us. Susanoo is a god, but also the Dark Nebula. Thousands of years ago, it was close to Earth, and when it was, Earth was nearly destroyed along with the sun and the moon, represented by the gods Amaterasu and Tsukiyomi, respectively. The people at the time said it was Susanoo causing havoc. They chronicled all the destruction that happened, tsunamis, earthquakes. The Atman is the only being that can control the Dark Nebula, and the Atman can take many forms, kind of like reincarnation. Not exactly, but kind of. He can even exist across dimensions at the same time. And the Atman pushed the Dark Nebula away, and when he did, he promised the Dark Nebula that they would meet again one day. Also happening around that time, the current Atman, Takeru Yamato, tells the historian Takeuchi that he will see him again in 1600 years. And around that time, some of Takeru's followers, they get into these goo eggs that are like cryo chambers. Two of the people that get into the goo eggs are Takeuchi and Princess Oto Tachibana. Takeuchi wakes up from his goo egg throughout history to record all of history. Thousands of years later, Kazuhiko, Takeru's uncle on his mother's side, kills Takeru's father in hopes that by killing the current leader of their clan, the Kikuchi clan, that he could become the leader of the Kikuchi clan, and that would make him the next Atman. That's what his hopes are. The leader of their clan gets the title, Kikuchi Hiko. That same day, Takashi gets bit by a snake god, Takaminikara, and it leaves a snake-shaped scar on his shoulder. 10 years later, Takashi is our hero. He's at a museum and meets Takeuchi, who drops some serpent knowledge on him. And he already knows who Takashi is, because Takashi is the reincarnation of Takeru from the past, or more like they exist at the same time. It's all very mysterious. Takashi goes home and his mom is chilling looking at her special beads, but she hides them when Takashi gets home. Those are her special beads. Takashi meets an old friend of his father's who wants to solve the unsolved murder. And then this sets off a whirlwind of events for Takashi. They find clues that lead to more clues that lead to mysterious underground tunnels and religious groups. And one of the groups is the Kikuchi clan that his father was the head of. At one tunnel, they run into Takeuchi, who then starts traveling with them for a little bit. It's the same tunnel where he met the snake god as a kid and he gets bit again. They get back in the car and Takeuchi's dropping some more lore when the car crashes and Takashi ends up in weird god dimension. You see this tablet? It's written here that Takashi's destiny is unavoidable. And here, in the weird god dimension, he meets the Brahman, which claims to control all of space and time and is the foundation of the universe. And Takashi is going to become the Atman, which is the alter ego of the Brahman. He gets another holy mark on his knee, then he wakes up on this sacred rock. The Kikuchi clan finds him. They take him to another secret tunnel with a horse picture that talks to him. After that, he gets that damn look in his eyes, and he starts zombie walking towards his next bite. He gets there, talks to Horse God, a servant of Brahman. He's told that he must receive 8 holy marks, which are the bites that he's getting, and then the Horse God gives him one. Rawr.
This is your third mark.
He passes out again and the Kikuchi clan takes him to a shrine. At the shrine, the Kikuchi Hiko solves a statue riddle and finds another secret tunnel. Down there they solve another riddle and find this spring that says if you swim in it, you will be young and immortal. Well, this woman does that and it turns her into a hungry ghost, which are these evil little spirits that were just being held in check at this temple, but they all break free and they're following Takashi around just wrecking stuff as he's collecting bite marks and holy symbols. Now the Kikuchi clan are chasing after Takashi and they catch up to him with guns and masks. They're ready to take this fool out. Well, the hungry ghosts are pretty insane and they kill most of them. And this stone horse comes out of the ground and gives Takashi a sword. He's got to collect 3 holy relics along with his 8 holy marks. After that, Takeuchi takes him to some cryo chamber goo rocks where everyone is dead inside of them except for Princess Oto Tachibana. They wake her up, but then when she's up for a little bit, she starts falling apart pretty quick and gives him another holy relic, this mirror. After that, Takashi goes home. He's just tired. He's like, oh, whatever, I'll get the rest of these holy relics and evil or bite marks later. So he goes home and one of the Kikuchi clan has his mom hostage and tells him that the Kikuchi Hiko killed his father. And she was holding one of the special beads and it hits Takashi in the head. And the beads themselves are the last holy relic. He is complete. 8 holy marks, 3 holy relics. And now Takashi wants to get revenge and kill Kikuchi Hiko. He finds him at this bridge drawing on a piece of paper in the rain, which wouldn't work. That paper would be soaked. Your pen or pencil would touch it and it would just go right through it. Then he throws up that sword like he has the power, and then he just disappears. Back to Weird Godland where he gets told where he's going. Anyway, he gets transported 1,000 light years away to the Dark Nebula, and he talks to it and he has a choice. He can go back to Earth, but if he does, the Dark Nebula will come with him and destroy everything. Or he can travel the universe with the Dark Nebula and discover the universe's secrets. He can't decide and he ends up chilling on this pink planet. Back on Earth, Takeuchi goes back to sleep in his goo stone egg to continue recording human history. And he says, I'm sure I'll never see Takashi again. It ends with Takashi just chilling with the hungry ghost on that planet. That's it. This show was okay. It was so lore heavy that I just felt like I was in a class. I give it, after watching this show both subbed and dubbed and then editing this video, I hate Kikuchi Hiko's outfit more than anything. Out of 10. Up next, releasing January 26, 1990, Bebop High School. It has 7 50-minute episodes and this bad boy is a classic Japanese high school delinquent anime. And I loved it. My favorite manga is Kyokara Orawa, so this was in the same vein. It stars our delinquents Kato and Toru. They have funny conversations, get into so much violence, fight anything from themselves and other schools, tough guys, to anyone they can find. They're always trying to pick up girls. It's just fun if you're into the genre. A typical episode, like they hear, oh, one of our friends got beat up by these guys at this other school, so they go to where that other school is and they go start beating guys up, and then there's this scene where they're gonna fight these guys, but they both really gotta take a dump, so they don't fight them because they don't want to poop their pants. So they just let the guys talk trash to them and then the guys walk away, so they go poop. And then they're like, all right, where those dudes at? We gotta beat them up now. And then they go try to beat them up. They lose some, but then they always win in the end. That's basically a typical episode. Mine is always having to poop the pants. Yeah, it was a cool show. The opening and endings give 50 vibes. You know, I dug it. I give it a man brought a truck to a wooden sword fight out of 10. Up next, releasing February 3rd, 1990, Satsujin Kippo wa Heart Colored Kill Ticket. This one's a 50-minute murder mystery starring our hero Nagare Seiko. Let's see if you can solve the mystery. Detective? She gets suspended from school for standing up to a bully and decides to spend 3 days in Nagasaki with her cat Gambe. On the train in Nagasaki, she meets a few characters. Young goofball Chuda, who's all flirty, but she turns him down. This old man Kataoka, who's pretty nice. And Kyochiro, who finds her cat when he runs away. But later she finds out that the Kyochiro is supposed to be dead. What? Maybe she thinks maybe she saw a ghost. The train lands in Nagasaki and Kataoka gives her a ride to some site that she wanted to see. And when she gets there, she sees Kyochiro again. Then in this forest, she finds a dead body hanging from a tree. She calls the cops and they want to take her downtown to the station. You coming with us, you going downtown. But Chuda comes up and he gets her off the hook. His uncle's chief of police, they say. Now the two of them start hanging out and working on this case together. Later that night, Chuda learns from some contacts that the woman was strangled and then placed in the tree. And she's from the Tatsugawa family. Later, they go meet the niece of the dead woman, Misako, and ask her some questions. When Seiko brings up Kyochiro to Misako, she faints. Then they drive her home and we get the deets. Misako and Kyochiro were in love, but her father was highly against it. There are rumors that her father ruined Kyochiro's family business, and when his family went broke, his parents took themselves out, along with his little sister. She says that Kyo never believed any of those rumors, so he doesn't have a reason to be getting revenge. Either way, the two of them broke up because of the pressure from her father. They crash crash at her place that night and meet her housekeeper Okiku. That night, Seiko overhears Masako on the phone agreeing to meet someone at Hara Castle tomorrow. And she sees Kyoichiro talking to Okiku in the rain outside the house. Also that night, the police find Masako's uncle crucified down by the river. The next day, they learn that the body that was found a few days ago wasn't really Kyoichiro. He wasn't a ghost. He's not a ghost. He's alive. Then they follow Masako to Hara Castle. When they get there, Seiko runs into Kataoka, who is on a walk, and she asks him if he's seen a woman around here, and he says, yeah, over by that cliff talking to a young man. When she gets to the cliff, Ganbei jumps down and finds Masako passed out on a cliff below that cliff. They pull her up and ask what happened. She, oh, I was just standing there alone, and I was pushed. Strange. Kataoka says she was with someone, but she insists that she was alone. When Seiko describes Kataoka, she says, I don't know who that is, but it looks like she may be lying. Okay, I believe you have enough clues to figure out the mystery at this point. Who done it? Maybe the maid Okiku. Maybe she has some kind of motive. Masako's father faking his illness. Masako herself. Kyoichiro getting revenge. Kataoka, who keeps popping up. Why is he around? Chuta in some weird twist. Could it be Ganbei, the cat, who's been taken over by evil cat spirit and kills everywhere that Seiko takes it? Make a guess and let's see if you guessed right. That night they go check out Masako's place again. They go snoop around the house, climb up into a tree and see Kyoichiro up. Oh, he's up in this room and he sees them back. So they try to book it and yo, she falls hard from high up in that tree, then gets up and runs. Nah. She's out. That would have knocked the wind out of her and messed her up good. She should now have a permanent problem because of that fall. She can claim disability. They jump the fence and Churo goes to call for backup. He tells her to stay put. Well, she doesn't. She goes up and knocks on the door. Okiku says, hey, Masako isn't home right now. Kyoichiro comes to the door, sees the cops and books it. And Ganbei books it after him. So Seiko books it after both of them. Kyoichiro steals the cop car and Seiko jumps in with him, and during the ride he tells her, I ain't kill nobody. Then he pops that collar and walks off into the forest. Chuta was following them in his car, so she gets in with him, and he does a 3-point turn as they share their new information while headed back to Masako's place. Inside, they find Okiko knocked out with the gas turned on. She says Kataoka did this to her, and she tells them where the house is where they can find Masako next, and they rush over there, and inside they find Kataoka wielding a shovel over Masako and Kyoichiro. You see, Kataoka was I like saying his name. Kataoka was having relationships with Misako, and he wants to keep his relationship a secret because he's running for office soon. And the uncle was blackmailing him, and the aunt knew about it too, so they both had to go. Now he's gonna kill these two with this shovel and be done with it. But Seiko and Chuta are here. Whoa. At first, Kataoka is doing work with that shovel, 3v1, but the one has a shovel, it's OP. But Chuta, oh, he has some playing cards and he throws them. And right here, I thought, oh, maybe he'll cut homie's face with one of the playing cards. Chuta's a good magic crime fighter, but nah. He throws the cards and then pulls out his gun. He's a cop. After they arrest Kataoka, a real cop shows up and says, nah, Chuta ain't no cop. We don't know who he is. But he's gone. On her way home on the train, Seiko gets a call and it's Chuta. And he says he loves her. Whoa. She says goodbye to the camera and it ends. Yo, this was chill. I like murder mysteries. I like it more when I have all the pieces and I can solve the murderer and the motive. But hey, it was chill. The opening was just some starry piano. And the ending thing was pretty dancey. I liked it. I give it a, what does Chuta have here? What is that, a lollipop or a whistle? Is that a whistle? I think that's the real mystery. Out of 10. Up next, releasing February 3rd, 1990, The Brave Fighter exkaizer. It ran for 48 episodes. One day, the evil Geister aliens led by the evil Dino Geist come down to Earth in these orbs that take over the shapes of things and make them mechas. They choose dinosaurs. Fresh take. Yeah, that might have been a fresh take back then. Well, they're being chased by the cosmic police, and they take the shapes of vehicles. And their leader is exkaizer, and he takes over our little hero Koda's dad's car. And while Koda's at a dinosaur exhibit one day, one of the triceratops comes alive. It tries to get Koda's camera from him because it's his treasure. You see, the Geisters are space pirates here to steal anything deemed humanity's treasure. But Koda's dad's car transforms into exkaizer, and he beats up the robots. Bam, bam. Then he tells Koda, shh, you gotta keep me secret, little buddy. After that, he gives him a watch, and now they fight together. Again, this one is a lot like a Monster of the Week show mixed with Transformers. Every episode, the Geisters cause a new problem and usually make a new mech for the cosmic police to fight because they have this little football robot bug. Whatever it lands on, it can turn it into an evil mech. They cause problems and our heroes go and beat them up. The Geisters hang out underground watching TV just waiting to hear the word treasure to know what to go and try and steal. One day they see baseball. It's a national treasure. So they go, oh, you want to just go ruin a game of baseball? Yeah, that would be fun. And yeah, that's what they did. And they used the evil football bug to turn these two skyscrapers into robots. So they can go pick up the stadium. Well, exkaizer shows up and destroys the skyscrapers. What about all the people that were inside? In episode 2, so like in these shows, the main characters always have a super mode. Well, exkaizer, he's a car and he gets a trailer that comes out and he transforms into it. Homie busted out in like episode 2 and he was winning the fight. He didn't need to go super mode. There's an episode where Koda's dad tries to quit smoking. Look at his lollipop. It's too big. So the geisters steal all the tobacco and cigarettes. And it was like one of the only times they really got away with it because cigarettes are bad. So I thought that was kind of funny. They go into their underground hideout and start smoking. Hell yeah, we're so rad. They start coughing. One time, the geisters try to ruin Christmas by kidnapping all the Santa Clauses. And they use their football bug to turn this giant statue of Santa into an evil Jack Santa. The amount of destruction this Santa causes, someone had to die. Halfway through the fight, evil Santa robot combines with some reindeer and they make evil Santa reindeer centaur. Got 2 heads at the butt, or do they even have a butt? Are the heads tails? It's a fresh take on centaurs at least. Fresh meaning 30 years old. Evil Jack Santa centaur uses a Christmas tree as a lance. Eventually, exkaizer cuts it in half, ruining Christmas. Later that night, they have a delicious looking meal. Look at that, I want some of that cake. At the end of the show, exkaizer finally defeats Dino Geist and is going to arrest him, but Dino Geist decides, you're not arresting me, I ain't going to jail. So he flies into the sun instead, like a real one. Without Dino Geist there, exkaizer and the cosmic police have no reason to stay on Earth. Exkaizer's soul leaves the car in the middle of the woods. Yeah, thanks bro, how we gonna get this out of here? The show was fine. I wasn't really feeling the opening and the ending songs. It's a good kids show. I give this one, the dog's name is Mario, out of 10. Up next, releasing March 1st, 1990, Gdleen. This is a 45-minute movie starring our hero Ryu. He works for Akuma Corp, going from planet to planet trying to acquire their resources to take back to Earth, but he's not very good at his job. He's a bit of a slacker. One day he crash lands on this syringe-shaped planet with his boss Moss 1. Moss is always larking on him to do better. We run into some giant bugs and these lizard people called the Barbares. They get separated during a scuffle with these lizard people. So he's running away from the lizard people and then he goes straight down this cliff like a Looney Tune. He lands in a tree and his spacesuit rips off. What do you think he's wearing under that spacesuit? Is it 1, some kind of skin tight Under Armour? B, just some underwear? Or an entire suit? The answer is or. He has a hologram of his girlfriend back home, Catherine, and it's in his old watch. He wanders around the planet for a while. He takes a swim until he finds this. They both get captured by the Barbares. The Barbares are gonna sacrifice them to this god called the Governor. While held captive, she gives Ryu this ring that lets him understand their language, her language. Her name is Fauna, and she's a magic fairy, and magic is real here. Meanwhile, Moss has met up with these wizard people called the Mayoro. He calls Ryu on his watch, and he tells him, quit being lazy and get these resources. Before Ryu can tell him he's being held hostage, Moss hangs up on him. Ah, yes, it's law time. The Mayoro also believe in the Governor as God, and the Mayoro and the Barbares, they're at war. 30 years ago, the Barbares took over the Governor's castle and are holding it hostage. The Governor has been sending the Mayoro messages on how to free it. Well, the Barbares start traveling, and they're dragging Ryu and Fauna to meet the Governor, and on the walk there, they get to know each other. She ran away from home because I was tired of magic practice every day, and I'm hoping to just go out and meet people out in the world. They take a break at the free city of Meldrum, where the Barbares just kill everybody. The Mayoro, they're also on their way to that city, and when they get there, a big old fight breaks out between the two armies. During the scuffle, Ryu and Fauna make a break for it, but they run into some soldiers, and Ryu is about to get axed, but Fauna, she uses her magic to make a big tree on the lizard man. After the battle and getting some rest, Fauna reveals to Ryu that she finally grew her wings. And she shows them to him, and she lets him touch them. Ooh. Well, he holds his hands like this. As we all know, when a fairy shows you her wings, you're supposed to do this. And she thinks he turned her down, so she runs away. He's sad about it, but what's he gonna do? He marches with the Mayoro army to the Governor's castle, and Fauna gets caught while she's out sulking. And the Barbares catch her, and they're still gonna sacrifice her. But Ryu pulls out his space gat and busts into the castle to rescue her. Inside, they fall through this portal and end up in this big old white room that looks like a fighting game training stage. And there's a computer, and we learn what's going on here. There used to be a real person called the Governor who ran everything, and he toyed around with both sides. Like, look at this. He was like guiding both armies against each other. He's making them think that he was a god and keeping the war going so that no single tribe could could rule the planet. The governor died of illness, and now this computer is running the show. They fight it out for a little bit with the computer, but they end up in this room where the computer has creatures in tubes to analyze them, and he grabs Fauna and he puts Fauna in one of the tubes. And he gives Ryu a choice. He'll send him back to Earth where he can show up with all the resources and become an elite. He can be rich, but he can't take Fauna. She will stay in that tube and die. She says, "It's fine, go home and be rich." Ryu says, "No. Nuh-uh." And he frees Fauna and starts blasting that space gun. When he runs out of ammo, he throws one of the specimen tubes. Hey, yo, those look heavy. He's strong. They break the computer and then the capsule starts moving and it's actually a spaceship. And they gotta get out now because it's gonna explode. And they find a hole out and Ryu slips off the side. Oh, and he grabs onto what? What's he holding here? Like he's just kind of holding to the side with his fingers. He got a sticky grip. He got that Spider-Man hand. An explosion from the ship sends them all off the side though. Bruh. But remember, Fauna got her wings. And because of the love in their hearts and the fact that she can fly and do magic, they survive the explosion. Ryu decides he's gonna live here on this weird syringe-shaped planet with the magic fairy girl who loves him. And he throws his work watch into the river. Blah, forget about Catherine. The ending song is a jam too. I give this one, the lizard men have a torso on top of a torso. Look, it's like that, and they got like 4 arms. They look ridiculous. Out of 10. Up next, releasing March 1st, 1990, The Curse of Kazuo Umezu. This one is a 40-minute episode that has 2 short stories in it, and they are really creepy and weird. If you aren't into that kind of stuff, I suggest you skip to the next show. In the very first story, we have Masami here. There's a new student in her class that just moved back to Japan from Mexico, and her name is Rima. Everyone else in class thinks Rima's really pretty and cool. Oh, wow. But Masami hasn't dropped that damn look in her eyes since she first saw Rima. Masami is freaked out for some reason. She won't even close her mouth. Look at her laying in bed, like blink. She has a weird dream that night that's just all these swirling colors. She remembers it being scary, but she doesn't remember what it was. And her window's open, and there's a weird mark on her neck. She covers it up with an adhesive strip, and her friend, when she gets to school, just rips it off. Yo, you just go out ripping people's band-aids off? That's something you prep yourself up for. Like, okay, I gotta rip this off. It's gonna hurt because it's sticky. Someone just come up and ripped it. Don't touch me. After school, she aimlessly walks to Rima's house because she's all distraught. When she gets there, she's like, why did I come here? And then she rushes home. That night, when she's eating dinner with her mom and her grandpa, they're worried because she's acting funny. Look at Grandpa here. Grandpa says he saw something go into her window last night. I think Grandpa is where she inherits that damn look in her eyes because Papa, look at my man's seen some stuff. That night, she dreams of a monster breaking into her window. And when she wakes up, her neck hole is worse. The next day, she asks her friend with a camera to set it up in her room to see what's happening. That night, she has the monster dream again. Her friend comes over and watches the video alone because she's too scared to. After he watches it, he is shook and he goes home. He tells her she needs to watch it, but again, she just can't. She has a crushed spider in her hand. How long was that spider? She woke up, called her friend to come over, waited for him to get there. He watched the video. There's just been a crushed spider in her hand that whole time. She goes to Rima's house to see what's been going on, and Rima's being taken to the hospital. She looks all sickly, but Masami's looking good. The neck hole's gone too, and her friends say she looks pretty. What you doing? So she decides to watch the video. Turns out Masami is the monster. It shows her transforming, and the transformation starts in her neck hole. That's where the mouth is for the monster. She remembers busting into Rima's room and stealing her youth from her while she was sleeping. Also, they threw spiders at her because her friend with the camera, he went there and he knew that she was afraid of spiders. So like maybe if that girl is the monster and we got spiders, it'll scare her. And that's why she had a dead one in her hand. She goes to school and kills the friend who let her borrow the camera, and that's it. That's where that story ends. The next story is about 2 friends, Nanako and Miko. They're hanging out watching some scary movies. Nanako sees this haunted house from the bathroom and says, hey, we need to go check that haunted house out. And Miko's against it at first, but she gives in and they go check it out. That peer pressure. When they get there, 2 of their friends are also there. They had the same urge to just go check out this haunted house. I'm gonna play a game. It's called Moments I Would Have Left. Number 1, when we all just have an urge to show up here. Number 2, I would have left when this cat jump scared me. Number 3, I would have left when they get inside and the door slams shut behind them. Number 4, I would have left when the flashlight died. Number 5, I would have left when they found this creepy painting that everybody couldn't help but stare at for a long time. Number 6, when they get in this room and all the toys moved. That bear is rocking in that rocking chair. Number 7, when everything in the house started bleeding. Number 8, this doll. Eventually they find this creepy lady just standing in the corner of this room, and she moves towards them and they try to run, but everyone starts falling apart. I mean limbs and blood. Like, but then Miko wakes up in her bed. Ha, it was just a nightmare. Haha. And she goes to the bathroom and goes to splash water on her face. When characters do that in media, why do they always fill the sink up? Like, you can just turn the faucet on, splash some water on your face. You don't need the whole sink to be full. Well, in horror movies, I think it's just so that the water can turn into blood. And that's what happens here. She goes to school and everything's fine. Her friends are there, except they all have scars in the places where they fell apart last night. Huh? So they decide to go back to the haunted house and find Miko's dead body there. And everybody just falls apart again. Maybe, I think it was just the ghost messing with them one last time, making their spirits think that they were still alive. But that's the end. This has a certain just creepy vibe because it's old, just a vintage creep. The ending is a violin to some creepy piano. Eerie. I give it this one time. Miko, she waved to a rat in the haunted house, all happy. Like, what are you waving at rats? What the hell you doing? Out of 10. Up next, releasing March 5th, 1990, Kentoushi. This was 3 45-minute episodes that I believe cover 12 volumes of manga, so it feels pretty rushed because it is rushed. I couldn't find the entire show subs, but I'll piece together everything the best I can. Our hero Kenshi wants to realize the American dream and travel from Japan to America to become the boxing heavyweight champion of the world. He finds a gym in America, makes a lot of friends, gets into a bunch of scraps, meets the heavyweight champion of the world, King. They become frenemies and Kenshi's working up the ranks to get a fight with King. And King stays watching Kenshi's career. Well, before Kenshi can make it to the title fight, King loses to this guy. I think they called him the Red Dragon. Well, Kenshi gets his fight with Red Dragon and is getting beat, but through the power of loving his friends and being a very good boxer, he beats Red Dragon and becomes the world champion. A lot of these 90s shows shocked me with how clean and good the animation is. This one did not. This is what I expected all of them to look like. The soundtrack was just old songs, which was fine. I liked it. I give this one the American Dream out of 10. Up next, releasing March 21st, 1990. Like the clouds, like the wind. This is an hour and 20-minute movie. One day, the Emperor of Japan dies, leaving behind 500 wives, all with children who can make a claim for the throne. Empress Kin, who's more conniving and plotty than the other empresses, trying to get her son as emperor before the others can. Look at her, she's so rich, she don't even hold her own pipe. Koryun is chosen as emperor and her son isn't. Of course, this new emperor is gonna need new wives, so servants start traveling the land, town to town, telling the women that they can go try out to be members of the emperor's new harem. That's when we meet our hero Ginga. They go to her village, and when she hears about this, she thinks it's a great idea. I get to go to school, wear nice clothes, and eat. I'm in. She tells her dad, look, I could stay here in the country and be kind of happy. Or I could go live a life of luxury and be kind of happy. I mean, this sounds pretty nice. It's a very sound choice. So she passes the first test and is sent to Empress School to see if she's good enough, but Ginga's a wild child. She hates sitting still and talks back quick. On the way to the palace for her Empress training, they get guarded by these two fellas, Kantan and Heisho. And everybody who meets her agrees that, oh man, she's not exactly what you would think an Empress to be, but they get good vibes from her. When she arrives at the palace, she has to go through this long building called the Weeping Gate. She's guided by this older woman who won't talk, and Ginga keeps asking questions. Eventually, she gets annoyed and starts pinching the old lady's hands like, man, you ain't gonna talk to me, I'm gonna pinch your hand. And the old lady starts pinching back like, yo, when you pinch me, I'll pinch back. It cracked me up. When they get through, she meets Koryun and she doesn't know he's the emperor. She just thinks, oh man, that was a nice guy. She gets a room with some roommates and she starts attending Empress School. And she does well, befriending the professor while always causing a ruckus. Meanwhile, the evil Empress Kin is planning to have the emperor assassinated. During one of these assassination attempts, Ginga happens to be nearby and she jumps in to help and she grabs 2 bricks and stances up. Look at her. And they push back the assailants. Koryun will remember this. Cut to the 2 pals from earlier, Kantan and Heisho. They're bored, so they go relax in the field. And they decide, hey, you want to start a rebellion? That sounds fun. Yeah, I'm down. So they do. The new wife training stuff wraps up. All the girls who are chosen, they get a title representing what number of wife they are to the emperor. And Ginga gets Sehi, which is first place. She got first wife. She did it. But now she's not sure. What if she doesn't like this guy? Maybe she won't be happy after all. Then she meets the emperor and it's Koryun. She totes likes him. Woo, yay. But the rebellion is getting close and they're winning. And the evil empress is betraying Koryun in the war. In a war he's already losing. They suggest he retreat, but he's not going to. So the rebels storm the castle. Well, all the soldiers deserted, so it's up to the women to defend it. They grab guns and cannons and catapults and they start holding the attackers off pretty well. And then Khan goes to Heisho and he says, man, maybe we should just call it quits. We got this far, let's just go home. And Heisho says, nah man, I'm gonna be emperor. He says, fine bro, whatever, have it your way. He walks away. Well, the emperor, he goes to give himself up and hopes that his surrender will spare everybody else inside the castle. Ginga, she hears this and wants to meet with him, so she asks nicely and they let her in. On the way there, Khan recognizes her and he lets her speak with the emperor. The emperor, he's in this horse stall, and Heisho has said that he has to get rid of himself if he wants to save everybody. Him and Ginga are in there and they start talking and they get it on, you know, they end in one time. And then he does it with that gun that she brought. Khanten then lets Ginga use him as a hostage to negotiate the release of all the women from the castle. And Heisho's like, oh, I don't know, I kind of want all those women. But he notices that the gun's out of bullets. And he's like, oh man, this is just something that Khan wants to do. So he agrees to it for his friend. And they all get released. And we get a what happened later. 3 years after being emperor, Heisho was killed. Then years later, Ginga's son takes his rightful place as emperor. This was a fun watch. I actually really liked it. I didn't do it justice because there's a lot of fun that just comes from all the conversations that they all have. And it moves very fast. The art was good too, and the ending theme was chill. I give it, there was a lot of violence, but I guess it was made or intended for TV or a children's audience because there's 0 blood out of 10. Up next, releasing March 21st, 1990, Carol. This is a 1-hour movie. The date is 1991. 5. That was the day that the clock tower Big Ben stopped making noise. Not just Big Ben's chime, but all the music in the world seemed to be disappearing. Her father, you don't know who her is. Our hero is Carol, and her father, a famous cello player, says his cello just won't play right anymore. And when Carol listens to music, it just isn't the same. Something is happening. Also, she's been hearing a mysterious voice call her name, Carol, Carol. Carol. And she's wondering, maybe it's just my equipment at home. So she goes to this auditorium and has this big CD and she puts it in this projector. And wow, there was a great big flash. Everything just changed.
His molecules got all rearranged.
Carol wakes up in this creepy forest and she meets Tico, this elf that looks like he's in a budget Great Saiyan Man cosplay. And she passes out. Then we cut to the evil guys. This is the music-sucking monster Gigantica. And this is Clark. He plays music to put it to sleep. And this is Kapuli. He's working for Gigantica. They put Clark in prison where he hopes that Carol will hurry to come help them. And then Carol wakes up in front of this tree. And the tree's name is Teos and it can talk. Taios. Lore time. This is a land of Labasurubasu. It used to be beautiful and full of music and love. But the demon lord Gigantica came and brought death and destruction. And he took away the music. That's when Clark told Tico, one day Gigantica will steal the music from Earth. Then a girl will come to save our world. Carol says, whoa, look, the music disappearing is terrible, but I can't fight a demon. I ain't no demon. I can't fight a demon. Take me to your friends and I'll tell them that I won't help and you can send me home. To go meet his friends, they gotta go through the dangerous maze forest. Well, while they're in there, she gets hungry. So she tells Rico, go get me something to eat. He's like, okay, well don't move from this spot. She goes, I'm not a little kid. You don't have to tell me to stay still. Well, she starts walking around on her own the second he's away from her. And she runs into Flash, Rico and Clark's other friend. She tells Flash, I won't be fighting Gigantica. And then they start bickering. And then Domus the rabbit person hops on up. And Domus offers them some food. You guys must be hungry. They're sweets. And Carol doesn't eat sweets. Then they get ambushed by monsters. Oh! Flash fights them off the best he can, but he's injured. Carol wraps cloth on his leg and Domus runs off to find Rico. Well, these two get captured and taken to the enemy base and watch Gigantica feed on music with his big old sucking mouth. Afterwards, all the monsters have a party and get turned on purple drink. They put Carol in this dress. The monsters party so hard that they all pass out, letting our heroes make a break for it. Flash lets Carol know that he thinks she's pretty. They go to break Clark out of prison, but he says he needs to stay here to keep Gigantica calm. And they all need to come together for one final assault later. Carol swears to Clark in that cage that she will come back for him. I don't know, maybe 3 hours have passed, making declarations to come back from people she just met. They keep running and Kapuli helps them escape, while this whole whoa jam is playing in the background. I like it. Takes them to this secret passage where they find Dino. Oh man, Dino's waiting for him. When I saw this thing, I died laughing because it came out of nowhere. Never mentioned, never seen, but here's Dino just waiting. Big old dog Pegasus with a jam in his forehead. They ask Kapuli, why? Why did you help us? He says he's half Labugrian. That's why. He tells them to go to Lake Shialatsu where there's a water spirit that can help them. The monsters kill Kapuli while heroes escape. Carol is devastated. Dino is huge. Flash and Carol get back to Rico and Fico. Wait, what the fuck? What was the tree's name? Taios, not Fico. I guess Tico lost Carol in the forest and just gave up looking and just came back to this tree. Carol is shook about the loss of Kapuli. But while she's grieving, Domus walks up. But they're very injured. Domus was attacked in the woods because the enemy was looking for Carol. Then she pulls out the last of her food. She says, I forgot. I'm dying. You don't like sweets, do you, Carol? Next time, I'll get you something you like. Domus is gone. We barely had time to mourn Kapuli. They make Domus a grave, and Dino looks so serious. Carol eats some of the sweets. She gets over not liking them to eat what the dead Domus brought her. Clark tells them through Dino's magic head gem that tonight's the night they can communicate through Dino. She's been here for maybe 6 hours. Watched 2 people die and has to fight a demon that eats music. They get to Shioratsu Lake and ask the spirit for help. The spirit is not allowed to appear in front of anybody from Labasurubasu, so that's why Carol was called to this world. There's an evil chant that the demons do during demon time, and the spirit says to Carol, all you gotta do is chant this other thing during that chant and it'll defeat Gigantica. So she tells it to her once, then vanishes. Carol repeats it a bunch of times to memorize it. Yeah, I would have been like, whoa, say that one more time, but let me write it down, come back. So they want to sneak up on the enemy. Yes, they go by boat where the enemy won't see them. Yes, the 3 of them in a boat. They're all laughing on the way there. And Dino just zooms in the frame. That thing always cracks me up. Also, they're sneaking in. Why are they going by boat? Just get on Dino. They sneak into the lair and they start fighting. Oh, Enrico has a laser gun. He has a what setting is this? They get Clark and then it's time to face Gigantica. Gigantica starts sucking up music and it turns out that Carol's musical locket is the last piece of music left. Except Clark plays some tunes on the piano, so I guess there's still music in that. And that combined with the magical anti-demon chant, it's enough to defeat Gigantica and all the other demons. It takes about 40 seconds. They just chant till it blows up. Labasurubasu's returned to normal and the music has been restored on Earth. And they all stand on this balcony looking out over the beautiful land. Carol starts talking about her feelings and when she turns around, only Flash is standing there. The others laugh. This is goodbye, Carol. Yeah, I'll never forget any of you. And they smooch. Smooch. She wakes up in the projector room. This was rushed. Maybe it was like, if it was 20 minutes longer, it would have been more cohesive. And then credits roll. The credit song is the Whoa Whoa song from earlier. I dig it. I give it the impact that Kapuli and Domus' sacrifices had. Out of 10. Up next, releasing March 21st, 1990, Soul Bianca. It's 2 episodes. Episode 1 is 50 minutes, episode 2 is 40. And it stars our space pirates May, Feb, April, June, and Janny. They pilot the Soul Bianca, an incredibly advanced spaceship. In the first episode, they pirate around a bit, and one of the ships that they're pirating has a stowaway on it. His name is Rim. Rim's a little boy from the planet Uno, which is at war with the planet Tres. The ruler of Tres has stolen something precious from Rim, and he needs to get it back. And he tells the crew that he will give them the location of a treasure, the Gnosis, a golden box that's said to hold all the knowledge of the universe, if they help him out. And they agree to check it out. On the way there, they get attacked by Tres ships. They escape, but have to stop for repairs. Some of them stay and handle that, while some of the crew go and land on Tres to find the treasure. They make it to the treasure room, and the precious thing that Rim was looking for, it was his mom. It was his mommy, just his mommy. She's there, but she's being held in some kind of stasis. And they meet Patros, the evil leader of Tres, who wants to conquer the galaxy. He throws them in prison and the next day puts them in his coliseum where he's gonna chop their hands off in front of a crowd. But up in space, on a space station where the ship is getting repaired, Feb has a gun and she aims it at the dude who's about to chop one of their hands off and gets him. That is something so ridiculous, it's awesome. She shot him from space. They escape and get back to the Soul Bianca, and after some deliberating on whether it's a good idea to go back for the treasure and rescue Rim, since there's a war going on, but they decide to do it. They attack the main ship where the treasure's being held, break in there, get the treasure and Rim, and then get away. There's also help the rebels win the war. Woo, what a happy ending. Episode 2. It's about them stealing some Pasha, an expensive space material that can enhance your abilities. Just wearing a ring of it will make you way stronger, like she punches this table and it cracks. It's crazy stuff. So they get into some pirate shenanigans because of that. I was about to congratulate this show on having a cast of all women main characters and not showing them naked, but they failed. Early in episode 2, they get hit with that clothes melting ray and have their clothes melt off. Later, their ship gets infested with robot worms and some of the crew get caught while some of them also get caught. Then some of them break free and free the other ones. At the end, they bust their friends out of this ship and catch them in space with this space rope ball that catches them. It was pretty cool, I'll give them that. There's some kind of secret going on here too about how Feb acquired the Soul Bianca. And this show is fine. If you're into space cruise shows, it won't disappoint. I give it this guy looks like he's laying on Zordon's deathbed. Out of 10. Up next, releasing April 2nd, 1990, Idol Angel Welcome Yoko. This one's 43 episodes, and I could only find this one in Spanish without subs. So I'll just tell you what I could figure out. Yoko is a girl with a pet flying squirrel who dreams of becoming an actress. Through her wacky and fun adventures, meeting the journey and friends along the way, she realizes that the journey is the way amongst the friends. At the end, she gets a chance to be an actress, but turns it down to make music with the friends that she made. This is just a fun kid show. I give it a...
Ya lo sabía. Aún no has pasado el examen de saltos mortales. No te preocupes, ya lo conseguirás a su debido tiempo. Tienes que practicar mucho más y no ser tan vaga.
Out of 10. Up next, releasing April 6, 1990. NG Night Lamune and 40. This is 38 episodes. Our hero Lamune is walking down the street after school one day when he sees a girl selling video games on the side of the road. Like someone would sell newspapers. I thought that was pretty cool. I ain't never seen that. Well, now that I think about it, people used to sell like bootleg movies and stuff on the side of the road. I remember that. I never saw them selling games though. Anyways, he buys one and he beats it that night. And then Princess Milk, the girl from earlier, she shows up to isekai him to her homeworld. Hara Hara. Beating that game proves that he's the chosen one, and he gets him back. Now he has to protect Hara Hara from the evil warlock Don Hamarge and his nefarious cohorts and monsters. Don Hamarge wants to resurrect Doom God Goboriki. Now Lamune has to search the land for the 8 guardian knights, which are sentient mechs, to aid him in his journey. He summons them with this coin robot thing that he has on his shoulder. It's his friend, his name's Tamakyu. There's also Decider and Leska, and they work for Don Hamarge. Decider, every time he gets upset, he fires off a submachine gun, and everybody's pretty chill about it. Can you imagine that in real life? If you just got upset and popped off a clip, insane. I know what you're thinking. They travel the world, get the robots, and Doom God gets woken up, but they still beat him. Not quite. So they do that for about 26 episodes. He gets all the guardians and they all have super transformations, then they storm Don's castle, and there's this big fight. The Doom God sure gets summoned. He's not really a person, it's another mech monster that Hamarge pilots. And he rips one of the guardians in half, which I was not expecting. Also, the guardians kind of have their own personalities too. They're just like characters. Well, after a long, difficult fight, they cut the Doom God in half, and they think they've won, but they didn't. He's all... After the heroes walk off, Hamarge flies into space with the Doom God, and you see Hara Hara World is a part of Doki Doki Space. Doki Doki Space is filled with worlds just like Hara Hara. And down at the bottom of this universe of Doki Doki Space is the Dark Quicksand. It takes you to the Dark Urn, a place there's no coming back from. Hamarge and the Doom God are sending Hara Hara World into the Dark Quicksand of Doki Doki Space. We learn all of this from this funky moment. If they can defeat the Doom God before the planet falls into the quicksand, they can save Hara Hara World. But Hamarge and the Doom God are hidden on the Dark Comet. And as we all know, the only way to get to the Dark Comet is to gather the 8 stone tablets that show the way to the Dark Comet. And how can they locate these tablets? With this bird on a stick. How else? They learn about all of this in episode 29. So they do that. They venture out into Doki Doki Space and gather the 8 tablets, solve a puzzle, and figure out where the Doom God is. They beat him with a robot tornado drill attack and save Hara Hara World from the Dark Quicksand in Doki Doki Space. After the final win, Lamune gets unisekai'd, but he promises to see Milk one day. This show was fine. If you like robot kids shows, it's cool. This is episode, I almost forgot. These kids are bullying this turtle, and then the turtle just starts talking, and they're trying to get the turtle to solve riddles, but he doesn't like a riddle. But I don't like riddles. They're like, solve this riddle, you stupid turtle. It cracked me up. I like one of the endings, the sunflower one. It was pretty chill. I give it the time that Princess Milk ate a bored elephant alive. Look at this dude, you don't even care he's being eaten. Out of 10. Up next, releasing April 13th, 1990. Nadia, Secret of the Blue Water. This one stars our 2 heroes, Nadia and Jean. Nadia is an orphan who's worked as an acrobat for a traveling circus for as long as she can remember. She doesn't know who her parents are or where she comes from. She has a pet lion named King and this necklace called the Blue Water. Remember that. From here on out, when I say blue water, I'm not saying some water is blue. I mean her necklace. John is kind of orphan too, because his parents are dead, but they left him an inheritance. He has his own house and a bunch of money. His aunt and uncle, they take care of him. His dream is to make a flying machine because he hates boats because his father went missing when he went out to sea. During a flying machine competition, Jean sees Nadia walking down the street and is immediately smitten. He follows her to the Eiffel Tower and they have a little chit chat. And hey, I followed you up here. chit chat. While they're talking, these hooligan T-Rocket figures show up. Gravana, Hansen, and Sensen, the Gravana gang. They're after Nadia's blue water. Nadia gets away by running on this railing, and I know she's an acrobat, but whew, nah, forget that. It's high up. Later on, John saves Nadia from the hooligans after they try to buy her from the circus, and now she doesn't have anywhere to go, so he invites her to live with him. Nadia's talking to John one time. She's all, I don't know anything about myself, where I was born. Oh, John says, maybe you're from Africa because of how you are. They get to his place and the adventure starts pretty quick. They go out on an airplane he's trying to make, then it crashes at sea. They get chased by the hooligans again. They meet up with the submarine that hunts pirates called the Nautilus. We'll talk about that more later. They get the plane fixed and they leave and they crash again. There's a strong moment where they think they're about to drown, so they hold hands and just sink to the bottom. That's pretty deep for some kids. So they end up on this island, and this is kind of where the main story starts. On this island, we find the villains of this tale, the Neo-Atlanteans, a mask-wearing group of truly evil people, led by Emperor Neo and the sinister Gargoyle. The Gravana hooligans are trying to steal her necklace. They're goofy and nearly harmless. The Neo-Atlanteans, they have killed most of the population of this island, and if they find our heroes, they will probably shoot them. This was a shocking turn because I thought this was just going to be another problem of the day show. You know, some story here and there, but they're just trying to get to Africa, and the journey is the friends. I was quite wrong. In the best way. They find these dead people on the road, but this little girl's still alive. Her name is Marie. Those were her parents, and now she joins their orphan gang. The Gravana group ends up here too. While running around on the island, we learn the evil people want the blue water and they start chasing our hero. She gives it to Jean and then lets herself get captured, because if they find her, they're just gonna kill her friends and then just take the blue water and keep her alive. Then she gets to meet Gargoyle. He shows her the Tower of Babel, this big tower weapon that fires a laser and blows up an island. Jean and the Gravana gang, they group up because they get arrested too, and then they bust in and free Nadia, Marie, and King. And with the help of the Nautilus, they actually manage to get out of there. Gargoyle tries to use the Tower of Babel again, but he can't control it and it destroys his own forces. So now, Nadia, Jean, Marie, King, Grandis, Hansen, and Sensen, they all start living on the Nautilus. For a while, they become part of the crew. On the ship, we have Electra, the second in command, and Captain Nemo. They're the main ones. Yo, the Gravana crew, they did a 180 for me. They went from annoying comedic relief to real characters. Hansen's a smart mechanic, so him and Jean start bonding. Sensen is a tank. Dude is cartoon strong in a show when no one else is. Grandis starts being a big sister to Nadia. And Captain Nemo isn't just some tough love, quiet figure. I'm the captain of the Nautilus. He is that, but he also drops a lot of knowledge and he can change his opinion and have fun. Look, he smiles and stuff, but when he gets upset, he plays the pipe organ loud. Grandis is in love with him. And yeah, Grandis, okay, she grew up rich but lost all of her money to a swindler. Only Sensen and Hansen stayed with her. They had to sell all of her mother's jewelry to make money. Then they started stealing jewelry. That's why they wanted the blue water. Also, I gotta give John some credit. He doesn't 100% simp over Nadia, he just loves her. She doesn't like to eat animals, and John's all, well, you know, we got this dead Bambi here, I'ma eat it. He will die for her, but he will not be a complete pushover for her. Speaking of dying, none of these characters besides John and Nadia feel safe to me. The show does a good job of making you feel like anyone can die. Take Marie here. She's just out in the field playing with King when some Neo-Atlanteans show up. See her, she hides. And to get her to stop hiding, they start firing randomly into the bushes and almost hit her. But then shortly after that, the bad guys that were just shooting at her pull out this wacky crab robot, and I'm not scared for them anymore. Just, isn't that strange? Like, guns, I think they'll die. Giant crab robot with crazy weapons is comedic relief. But after some wacky chase, the crab robot crashes and the pilot comes out and fires a shot. Well, Nemo pulls out his gun and kills that guy. So again, went from wacky crab robot to that guy comes out and now he's dead. Nadia gets upset that Nemo killed him. She says,
"Why did you have to kill him?"
That man had a gun pointed right at you, Nadia.
That is not a valid excuse.
That is actually the valid excuse, especially in America. Hell, honestly, he'd need less. She starts disliking Nemo. Time passes. On the ship, Jean befriends some of the engineers while learning how the ship works, like our guy Fate here. There's a skirmish where the captain has to make a difficult decision to let the engineers die from poison to save the rest of the crew. And they can talk to the engineers while they're waiting for the gas to kill them. Fate says a really touching goodbye, telling Jean to just enjoy life, not to blame the captain. And after a pause, Fate screams, "No, I don't want to die."
I don't want to die! I don't want
Well, then Fate! No, you can't!
And dies. Yo, it was so sad, scary, and funny. They go to Atlantis to bury their dead. Atlantis is a dead city. Now, they don't give too much of the lore at this moment. There, Jean learns his father died on that ship. One of the crew of the Nautilus was the sole survivor of the ship that his father was the captain of, so he takes a moment to mourn him as well. They start doing morning drills. The ship, it feels alive. John makes a helicopter. They go to Antarctica to make repairs. Nadia talks to an ancient psychic whale that tells her she'll meet her father and brother soon. Nemo cries while looking at an aurora. He also has his own blue water gem. What's going on there? In one of the episodes, they just start eating some ice cream. Marie, King, Sensen have a little tea party. Then they get ambushed by the Neo-Atlanteans. Their ship gets lifted into this air by this comically large magnet, but the moment is very serious. And then the ship that's holding them with the magnet, it starts dropping these huge, I'm talking bombs that are as big as the Nautilus itself. It just starts dropping them on there and they can't move. With the Gravana crew, they have this mobile tank thing called the Graton, and they get out there to help. And this is what made Sensen an amazing character for me. As the enemies just dropping the next bomb onto the Nautilus, our heroes need to stop it somehow. But they're out of everything except for the bullets in Sensen's gun. The bomb is huge. He aims, shoots, and makes it go off course and saves the day. It was the good kind of ridiculous. He starts crying, he's so happy, but then the Graton, I get shot and they blast off again. But it gives the Nautilus a chance to fight back and then destroy the magnet and escape. But the Nautilus is just about wrecked. Nemo puts the kids in his escape pod, tells Nadia that he's her father. Shock for her. We already knew. You could just tell because of how they are. Electra has a moment. So we learn that Nemo used to be the king of Tartessos and ended up destroying it because Gargoyle, there was another Tower of Babel there and he was about to use it to kill a bunch of humans. But Nemo came in and he messed it up. So it ended up backfiring and destroying Tartessos, killing a lot of Electra's family. So that's why she hates Nemo. She understands why he did what he did, and she travels with him because he wants to get revenge, but he showed weakness because the Nautilus had a chance to kill Gargoyle by self-destructing, but Nemo didn't want to do it because Nadia was on the ship. So he's like, you're getting soft now that you have a daughter, now that your daughter's back. So she has a little moment. She's gonna shoot him, but he stops her. And then she's gonna shoot herself, but he stops her. So then the kids get away in the escape pod, and the Nautilus, we don't know, we're not sure what happened. The escape pod takes them to a deserted island, and they live there for a while. John trips on mushrooms. They get along sometimes, and other times they fight. Then they see this other floating island. What's going on here? So they go to it. There's this guy, Ayrton, he's there. He's not important because the Granda, Sanson, and Hanson are there. It's been episodes since we've seen them. They end up living on these islands for months. John works out. They build and race robot lions. Nadia and John's relationship, it grows pretty steadily throughout the show. They make a hog chariot. They're living on these islands. They're just living. Then they find this tunnel that leads to this underground metalwork city. And there's this big flash of light. In the dub, they scream so hard. In the sub, they don't scream at all. A conveyor belt takes them to this room with a lot of Nautiluses and more machinery all over the place. What's going on? Then the blue water lights up and Nadia starts talking like a robot. She just phases through this wall and it's lore time. Are you ready? Are you ready to learn the secret of blue water? At the start of every episode, there's a short previously on that's narrated to us, and at the end, she always says,
will they one day discover the secret of blue water?
For 30 episodes, we've been listening to that, and now we finally get to know the secret of blue water. This island is a satellite city Red Noah. You see, Nadia is not human. She's from an alien race that's 277 light years away in the M78 Nebula. They called themselves Atlanteans. 2.4 million years ago, they made an emergency landing on Earth, then started living here, but war after war messed them up. The blue water contains great power. To my understanding, it holds the souls of every dead Atlantean, but it's probably more than that. The controller can either become a god or a devil. The computer wants Nadia to resurrect Atlantis, but that will purge the island on top and potentially hurt her friends. She argues with the computer until it gives up, telling her it's gonna chill out for now, but she can't avoid her. She cannot escape her fate, and it will guide her to Tartessos to see where she was born. The island still sinks. She gets back to her friends and they all get away. Tartessos is near Africa, and so on their way to Africa, they get spotted by an enemy ship, and it's all while most of them are asleep. They get woken up and they hear there's an enemy ship onto them. What does Sensen do? he pulls out his pistol cause he's crazy. They get hit, they crash land in Africa. While they're there, they get captured by this tribe, and Nadia gets a crush on this guy. Ooh, but he's taken. King gets captured and they save him. Jean writes Nadia a song. They make it to Tartessos. While they're here, the blue water's giving Nadia these powers. She can make walls disappear and feather fall. Nadia can feel or hear voices that want her to rebuild Atlantis. She's confused about, I don't know what to do with all this power. The episode is in black and white until she clears her head by jumping off a tower in an attempt to end it all. But the blue water protects her, and the crew says, hey, you are who you are. Chill out. You just relax. You don't gotta make a decision today. And she cheers up, and we learn that today's her birthday. She's 15 years old. And things are about to ramp up. I know that they just ramped up, but a train needs rails. Gargoyle shows up in a flying warship and tells Nadia if she comes with him, he'll let her friends live. Sensen says, hey, if you go, he's gonna kill us anyways. Don't go. Well, she goes up there, and Gargoyle is gonna kill them anyways. They run away, and they make it back to the Graton, but end up driving off the side of a cliff. Oh no, our heroes! But then they get saved by the Nautilus crew. They're back with their new ship, the new Nautilus. That's what they call it. And their ship is strong enough to beat Gargoyle, but he has Nadia. Gargoyle demands Nemo's blue water in return for not killing Nadia. After some deliberation, he gives it up, and Neo teleports it out of his hand. He couldn't just, did he have to know where it was? Man, my man just snatched it. It's his now. Nadia gets to meet Neo, who combines the blue waters together and activates Red Noah. Gargoyle, he gives us some more. The Atlanteans created humans in their image to have beings that would work for them. He shows her some failed examples in tubes. Gargoyle and Emperor Neo let the world know through a floating live projection of Neo that they're about to take over, and then they're taking Red Noah into space. The new Nautilus starts fighting them, and we end up in space having a space fight, during which the Nautilus gets hit with a giant space laser. The Gravanis crew, though, they get out of the Nautilus. They storm the bad guy's ship. They mess with the inner workings and mess the ship up from the inside. They are the MVPs 100%. I love them. Please don't die. The Nautilus busts into the enemy ship. Elektra gives Jean a gun, and they make their way to a showdown between Nemo, Jean, Elektra, Gargoyle, Neo, and Nadia, while the Gravanis crew is passed out and held captive. Gargoyle has done some mind stuff to Nadia, and she's got that damn look in her eyes, and she doesn't respond to anything. We get some backstory. Algo, Gargoyle's real name, he hates Nemo for loving humans, for respecting the things they created to be their slaves. Hello, Gargoyle, or should I say Algol. These days I actually go by God. He makes Puppet Nadia shoot Nemo. They're all standing on these like really high up pillars that are like a couple stories high, having this far away conversation. Nemo tells Jean, you must shoot Nadia and Neo, because only they can control the blue water. But Jean can't do it. He loves her a bunch. Elektra secretly radios the Nautilus to fire the cannons on her position, and they do it, messing up the machinery enough for robot Neo to break free of the mind control that Gargoyle has him under. So now Neo's slow walking over to Nadia, and he tries to free Nadia. But in a dramatic scene, Gargoyle pulls this comically large plug out of the wall. The more power you need, the larger the plug necessary, and it stops Neo's movements. But Neo powers through, and he breaks the crown on Nadia's head that was controlling her. He says a final goodbye to Nadia, then explodes. It's very serious. It's not funny.
He's dead because you killed him.
Facts. Gargoyle tries to command Nadia, but she won't agree. I won't use the blue water for you. So he uses that lightning that destroys clothing on Elektra. Heats her with that. Oh God, it's in every show. Do what I say or I'll kill them all. She says no. Okay, Nemo is alive, but he has been shot several times. Elektra got hit with lightning. Neo exploded. They are on an alien ship in space, fighting over a magic necklace that seems to have unlimited power. Everything has been so insane these last few episodes, and then, to prove his point, Gargoyle snaps, and the pillar that John is standing on just tilts a little bit. That's it. It makes him slide off, and it's pretty high up. Nothing too insane. He lands on his head and dies. It was the most normal and abrupt thing, and no music played. It was just stunning in its simplicity, surrounded by all this insanity. A few moments later, the Nautilus crashes into the room. Gargoyle yells out, "Sacrilege!" To them showing up. I don't know, it just made me laugh, especially after how serious that other moment was. And the group is safe now. I guess Gargoyle got hurt by that. They gather around Jean's body while Nadia cries. Nemo tells her, "You can save Jean's life with the power of the blue water." She starts doing that when Gargoyle shows back up. He says the blue water will be useless if she does that. Well, she does it. A light forms around Jean, and when Gargoyle tries to touch it, he starts turning into salt. Only an Atlantean can touch that special light. And it turns out that Gargoyle was a human this entire time. I bet he felt silly in the moments before he died just then, huh? That whole thing, it was, Nadia's in Blue Waterland, where all the lost souls of the Atlanteans are. And her mother tells her that if she brings John back, the blue water will be useless. She says, do it, and they do it. Blue water crumbles afterwards. But John's alive, unconscious though. Without the blue water powers, Nemo's bullet wounds start to hurt him more. I didn't know they were doing all that. And they have to get on a different Nautilus type ship because theirs is damaged. And okay, look, Nemo stays behind to blow up the enemy ship. I don't know how injured he was. He was bandaged up and he was moving around. Maybe he just wanted to die because it seemed like it was going to blow up on its own anyways. He could have set a bomb or something. Well, he does it and it's sad. John wakes up. Where are we? He's French the whole time. Nadia tells him we're heading back to your world. No, Nadia, it's our world. Cut to 12 years later. And older Marie tells us what happened, everyone. Electra was pregnant with Nemo's kid and is raising it. Jean and Nadia got married. They have a kid, and look at King. He's big with little kings. Grandis is single and living it up. Hansen started a car company and is rich. That's awesome. And Sensen, what did Sansen do? Sansen and Marie are married now, and she's pregnant. That's it. The show was good. The episodes where they did nothing didn't feel like they did nothing. It just felt like that episode was part of their lives, and time passes. It was pretty cool. The opening and ending for this show were also, both were great. I give the opening an edge. I give this one a choo choo puff puff.
Choo choo puff puff.
Out of 10. Up next, releasing April 14th, 1990, Otokogi. This one is based on a manga and it has 3 50-minute episodes. I could only find 2. It was pretty quick. Kyosuke is our high school age main character. His father is the head of the Western Yakuza branch, and he's a tough guy. He gets into fights, practices archery, and embodies what it means to be a big, strong man. His friend gets beat up by a Yakuza. He walks into their headquarters and challenges them to a fight. They meet on a beach and duke it out like men. Bow and arrow versus sword at 20 paces. He shoots the arrow too late and gets stabbed and sent to the hospital. Owie. When they find out who he is, they all bow down. Oh, sorry, we didn't know. And he's like, who cares? We're just being men. One day by a river, the wind blows this girl's skirt up. And now he's in love. That's it. That's all that happened. He saw her. That's it. So he asks her out at school the next day. And I'm lying. He follows her home, watches her window, and waits until the lights go out, sneaks into her room, rushes to her bed, kisses her, says he loves her and will always protect her. Then her brother walks in and yells at him to leave. And instead of running away, he eyeballs the brother and slowly walks out the window he came in. What he did was terrible, but how he handled the end was superb. Well, her dad's a cop, so her brother asks a cop to beat up our guy. Well, he beats the cop up, tells her he will always love her and the choice is up to her. That night they make love in a barn. Her name's Kumiko. Later, Kyosuke's father gets assassinated. When his mother hears the news, she dies of a broken heart on the spot. Giving birth to him gave her a weak heart. It really messed her up. And now he vows to live the kind of life that would prove his mother existed, that her giving birth to him wasn't a waste. So he moves away, starts doing construction. He makes friends with this Jagtomi, Yamagi. He gets into a brawl and throws some dynamite. And look at them under the table here, all hunkered down and waiting for the dynamite to blow up in Yanagi's big, strong arms. He beats up this beefer by poking him in the eye. Goes back to his hometown after 4 years and is gonna take over his father's old Yakuza clan. So he starts beating up other Yakuza. Yo, they turn up to an enemy base, cut the power. Yanagi throws a log through the front door. He starts blasting up in there with a shotgun. And he does it. He takes over his father's old clan. Everyone bows and acknowledges him. And then he runs it for a bit. Then he goes to jail for killing a man. Crime don't pay. Remember that. I give this one 2 jacked homies watching the ocean together like men. Out of 10. Up next, releasing April 25th, 1990, Burning Blood. This is 3 40-minute episodes based on a manga that ran for 31 volumes, so it doesn't cover the entire story. When our hero Ryo was just a middle schooler, he got into a brawl with 5 American soldiers, and he beat them all up. That earned him the nickname Burning Blood, or BB, and it makes it sound like everybody's calling him Baby. He's also a beast on the trumpet. He's in a band with his friend Waka, but he feels like his calling is just something else. He doesn't know. He's got himself a girlfriend, Koyuki. So we got them handles on the court court. He rides a motorcycle. And one day he's driving down the Akina downhill, going for a new best time. Yeah, this is his downhill. Yeah. Well, this guy he's never seen before beats his time and makes it look easy. Who is this mysterious stranger? One day his friend gets into some trouble and Ryo beats up 15 members of a biker gang to help him out. And they get mad and attack later, taking his friend's girlfriend hostage. Ryo is about to make the finals of a band competition. If they win, they can make it to nationals, even get a music deal. But he gets a call from his homie. Yo, I need help, they got my girl. And he rushes over. Homies over everything. This breaks Waka's heart. When he shows up, the bikers brought in the guy he raced earlier. He's their ace in a fight. And while Ryo puts up a good fight, this is the one person he can't beat. He loses. And all the biker dudes start immediately stomping on him. But when the blonde guy sees that they held a girl hostage, he warns the gang to leave and never bother Ryo again. That guy's name is Jin. Jin used to be a boxer, but he killed a man trying to defend his friend and he quit. But the fight with Ryo, it reignites that fire and he gets back in the ring. Ryo gets out of the hospital, he finds Jin and challenges him, but Jin won't street fight anymore. He tells Ryo that if he wants to fight, it'll have to be in the ring. So Ryo gives up the trumpet for some gloves. He finds out that one of his teachers used to be a boxer, but Ryo is always giving his teacher problems. There's some problems. So he makes him prove himself. And after a match where Ryo gets beat up for most of it, but he doesn't give up. Teach decides to teach him boxing. And they start that boxing training, man. Some of it's normal, like running through the streets. Look at his book billboard. What's going on? You see this? Like, what is this for? Just to get people to read? But some of the training is a little anime. They go to an island where he is tied to a tree and he has to punch until the chestnuts fall off of it. Anime training is always so unnecessary yet awesome. He's just throwing up nails and punching them in the rain. And look, I'm not afraid of dragonflies, but if there were 20 buzzing around me, I might move. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, Waka, who feels like his life is pretty much over since Ryo left the band, goes on a killing spree of every member of that gang for revenge and to lure out Jin. When Waka finally gets face to face with Jin, he's finna shoot him, but Ryo gets in the way. Jin talks some trash to Waka for a second, and Ryo punches him so hard that he throws up. And then Jin turns to Waka. I'm gonna be the one to defeat him, Waka, in the ring. And Waka leaves it to Ryo. Ryo goes back to that island and punches the nuts off that tree. It ends there. You gotta read the manga to know what happens, and I couldn't find that either. I give it he threw his trumpet into the ocean when he decided to pick up boxing. Those are expensive, and he can just keep it and play as a hobby. Out of 10. Up next, releasing April 28th, 1990, White Fang. This is an hour-and-a-half long movie, and I know what you're thinking. This is an anime based on the novel White Fang by Jack London, and that's what I thought. It's a little more complicated than that. It's called White Fang for us in America, but it's actually called Run, White Wolf in Japanese, and it is based on a novel. But the novel is by Mel Ellis, titled Flight of the White Wolf, not to be confused by a book of the same title by Terry Spear, which is much sexier looking. Look at his cover, man. What happens here? Y'all think he sleeps with that wolf? I don't know. I'm actually kind of curious. Let's read this summary. Stranded in the wilderness, these warring hearts will be forced to work together or die together. Gavin Summerfield, an Arctic wolf shifter with the fear of flying, has to fly into the vast lakeland wilderness of northern Minnesota to track down his suspect, where his abilities to shift will come in very handy. Imagine his chagrin when his pilot turns out to be the woman who tasered him the last time they saw each other. Whoa, things are off to a rocky start. Again, Arctic wolf shifter Amelia isn't entirely displeased to see Gavin again, but priorities shift when their plane is sabotaged and goes down in the middle of nowhere. As their attraction grows, Amelia hopes Gavin doesn't discover the secret she's been keeping. She knows he could never forgive her. The White Wolf series. Dreaming of a White Wolf Christmas. Book 1? What? How many? Book 1? Heart 20. There's 24 of these? Yo, Terry Spears killing it. Alright, quick. My bad. Back to this. Our hero here is Lasset. Lasset's father is a dog trainer and he trains the mayor's dog and it wins at a dog show. They're at his parents' place celebrating when the dog gets too close to the family's pet wolf. Gray kills the dog and runs away. Honestly, the dog was egging him on, but I mean, you can't tell the humans that they weren't there. We saw it because it's a show. It's a movie. Lasset follows Gray into the woods to bring him back home. So the mayor rustles up the town folk and they're gonna get into the forest and hunt the wolf. Lasset finds Gray and they move around together, but Gray won't let Lasset get close. But he won't run away either. He stays within a respectable distance. The hunters don't find him that day, so they give up and go home. Lasset comes home that night and talks with his parents. Gray's his best friend. You can't just give up on him. He wants to take him to Nicolet Forest, where there are other wolves Gray can live with. It's 300 kilometers away though, 186 miles, on foot with a wolf while being hunted. And mom and dad say, okay, what cool yet reckless parents, cause this is an amazing journey for their son if he lives. Kid looks like what, maybe 15, probably 12. 12 because it's an anime. They pack him some gear and they give him some cash and he heads out with Gray. And the whole time they get chased by the hunters. The mayor spots them from up in this helicopter and he starts shooting out the side at the wolf, which is absolutely insane. He loses Gray, finds Gray gets injured. They run out of food and he goes into town for something to eat, loads up. Look at all these groceries. And this is in the 70s. So all that probably cost him $6. Yo, little man got some Tylenol too. This wolf trip giving him a headache. He stops at a payphone to call home, updates his parents. Once he gets back from shopping and Gray has killed a cow and then gets stuck in a trap set by the mayor. He's still on their trail. Gray won't let Lasset take the trap off, so they get slowed down. They stop at a beaver dam and Gray passes out and Lasset gets the trap off of him. Then he tries to heal the wound and he feeds Gray. The next day they head out again and the mayor catches up to them, but Lasset won't let him shoot Gray. No, he tells the mayor that Gray's my best friend and I gotta get him to the forest, Nicolette Forest, something like that. The mayor is moved by this and he lets him go. He knows what it's like to have a best friend because his best friend was that dog that died. They get to the forest, hear the wolves howl, and Lasset remembers raising Gray. Then in the morning, Gray lets Lasset pet him one last time. He takes off Gray's collar, then Gray howls and heads off to meet the other wolves. I watched the sub and the dub. The wolf is White Fang and the boy's name is Whedon. This was a good journey movie for the youngsters, you know? Watch it with your kids or something. I give it a this takes place in Wisconsin, but this guy, he drives like he's in Japan because A, he's driving on the wrong side, and 2, he almost hits our main character with the truck. Out of 10. Up next, releasing May 2nd, 1990, Magical Angel Sweet Mint. This one ran for 47 episodes. Our hero's Mint, a magical little girl from a magical little land. On her 12th birthday, she has to go to the human world with her pet Waffle and live there for a while to learn about life and get better at magic and spread the seeds of happiness with her Aunt Herb. Because the happier the human world is, then the rainbow garden in her world will stop decaying. She gets to Earth and has to find her aunt's happy shop. On the way there, she meets some characters. Little rambunctious Ash Ketchum looking Takuto here. Plum, who looks like a lost boy. And you see, I was getting pretty bored in episode 1. I won't lie, it's a little kid's show, especially coming off of some of these other shows. But this girl here, her name is Nuts, and that's kind of funny. She finally gets to the magic shop and spruces it up using her magic. Now she's gotta run the happy shop to plant seeds of happiness that will bring life back to the dying rainbow garden. Remember when I talked about that? Doesn't that sound sick? Doesn't this sound great? Like you want to watch 47 episodes of it? I'll just throw out a few parts I liked. Every now and then she pulls out a wand or a bow and arrow, and the second I saw that bow and arrow, I was like, yo, that's a toy. They was trying to make sales, and boom, it is. She sets up the happy shop and starts selling things to make people happy. She sells this kid a bike and soups it up with magic and didn't tell him. They're trying to find him, I believe, but I was so distracted. These kids here, they're way too little to be holding hands like this. And Plum walks up to them. I think he's gonna ask them something like, hey, have you seen somebody with a bike? But he doesn't even open his mouth. He just walks up to them and he hits this, but I haven't paused it. With his expression, he just says, y'all shouldn't be holding hands, and then leaves. Pizza and balloons for sale. Come on down, get your pizza and balloons. Pizza and balloons. This is what they have for breakfast. They got a burger, fries, and a very small salad with some orange juice with a slice of orange up there. For breakfast? It's a little hearty. It's a little kind of hearty. Or the time they went to J Mike's house to help him bake a pie. Or the time she dug in Takuto's butt to fill up her jar. Yo, there's these dudes robbing a bank and she comes in there dressed like a cowboy and my man comes at her with a pickaxe and she chopped him in the neck. And homie pulls a gun and fires it. But Waffle hits his hand and makes him miss the shot. And then they get him. Everyone is all smiles after. Haha, yeah, we did it. He tried to shoot a little girl dressed as a cowboy. At the end of the show, she makes everyone happy and goes back home. I couldn't find it subbed anywhere, so I'm just going off of Raw I found. The opening and ending are both songs. I give it this picture of a phone book where you can call a cat shop. Out of 10. Up next, releasing May 25th, 1990, Ryukunohara Labyrinth, Sparkling Phantom. Doesn't that sound like a perfume? This is a 40-minute engagement. Our heroes Hiroki and Kanata are real good friends, sleep over in the same bed friends. Hiroki wants to go to space one day, it's his dream. And one night on his way home from school, he helps his little girl pick up some apples that fell. One of them went into the street and she runs out to get it. Nothing bad's gonna happen, right? Oh no, she's gonna get hit by this truck. the truck that kills Japanese cartoon protagonists. But Hiroki runs out to save her. Around the same time, Kanata notices that Hiroki dropped his house key and it shatters. House keys are strong. You can bend them, but shatter? I mean, like, whoa. Well, Kanata gets hit by that truck saving the little girl, and now he's a ghost, but something else is in his body and acts like him. Now he's all ghostly, and he watches his body continue to live his life. And as a ghost, he starts reminiscing on times with Kanata. One time, Kanata read giraffes to him when he was sick. Look, if I told you I understood everything that happened in this show, I'd be lying. There's this montage where they're at school, but they're in the school building, and the outside keeps changing. Like once they're in a desert and in space or a volcano, like an episode of the Magic School Bus or something, and inside they're watching the world change and acting like it's normal. Sometimes they're not even looking, they're just like chilling. It's like, oh, it's outside volcanoes again, haha. I'm not sure, I can't tell you what that was about. What I can tell you is Ghost Hiroki kisses real Kanata while alive Hiroki is sleeping right there. And then Ghost Hiroki takes over Kanata's body to confront himself, and they fight by the sea and they start drowning and they end up in clock dimension. And this is Fale. She's locked up in a prison somewhere and sad. Here we go. This is the best I can do. She forced the truck accident to kill Hiroki so she could have his ghost version to herself. But Kanata saved him with his love. When he yelled, it saved Hiroki. So it split him in two. The body is still him and the ghost is still him. Something happens, the power of love and friendship, and Fale just giving up on her dream there. Probably. There's always the power and love and friendship. And Hiroki is back to normal now. He's back in his body. I'm sorry, but that's all I got. I give this one my confusion out of 10. Up next, releasing May 25th, 1990, Yamagi Kun's Family Affairs. This is 3 episodes of my man Yu here, and he is fiending for his mama. No step here, all blood. How can he go after his mom like that? Cause blood ain't thicker than my mama. Yu starts to think that his mom isn't his real mom. She just looks so young, and he's never seen a baby picture of them together. And he starts to think that she has feelings for him too. Who can blame him? She's always making him food and kissing him on the cheek and telling him she loves him and taking care of him. You know, stuff moms do. He's really not scared to yell how much he's in love with his mom in public either. He's at school and his friends will mess with him over how hot his mom is. And one time he starts a tantrum. He's throwing desk around in class, and my man right here just keeps eating lunch. He doesn't flinch. What's his story? Well, there are baby pictures of them together. She is 100% his mother. And he can't deal with the stress of wanting to sleep with his mom. So one day he goes to the park and goes on a soda bender. All these kids, that's the PG teenager equivalent of getting drunk. God, I'm bummed out, man. Give me another Dr. Pepper. You sure, man? That's your 3rd one. That sugar crash is gonna be tough. I said, give me the pepper. He's the only doctor that can fix me. There's a teacher in the show that's trying to get at his mom. There's a woman trying to get after his dad. Lots of hijinks here. Oh, his dad exists, by the way. He's in the picture and he knows that Yu is after his mom. He even teases him about it. Man, it's like it's normal. And who's really to say what normal is? You know, I'm not me. Yu turns down the advances of other women. Sorry, you thought. This is true love I have for my mother. That's the show. Just I love my mom hijinks. I give it these funny birds. Out of 10. Up next, releasing June 4th, 1990, Kuro ga Itanatsu, or Summer with Kuro. This is an hour-long movie starring our little hero Nobuko. Nobuko finds a cat being attacked by crows and she saves it. She brings it home and asks her parents if they can keep it. And daddy's all, nah, you see this box? This box is nice. No cat. So she dumps it off and it gets attacked by crows again. So her little brother Makoto says, yo, we should just keep it in secret. Keep it like a little secret. And they get found out pretty quick. Daddy says, nah, remember the box? Get rid of it. It starts storming. They can't just leave the cat out alone in the rain, so they chill with it in this concrete tube. And they don't come back home, so daddy comes out and he finds them. And he's so moved by this that he lets them keep the cat, despite the nice box. She goes to school and there's a pond and she catches a fish to feed the cat like it's nothing. She throws the hook in there, it comes out with a fish. Cat hijinks at home is messing up the house. Every day she walks past this clock store to listen to all the clocks go off at once. Oh man, that is so cool. I would love something like that in real life. Make friends with a a clock craftsman. They start doing bomb drills at school. Oh, did I forget to mention this takes place during World War II near Hiroshima? Yeah, it changes the outlook of the ending, doesn't it? This goes from chill cat movie to when's it gonna happen? There's a bully boy and he sicks his dog on them and they beat him up. Pop, I start smacking him around. The dog bites the cat though. They resolve that. An air raid happens and they go for the bunkers. But Nobuko, she stays behind to get Kuro and she almost gets air raided. And Mama smacks her. She's like, you need to act right. It's an air raid, you get in the house, forget that cat. So they drop the bomb in Hiroshima and it messes up their village. And when they run, they lose track of Kuro. Earlier, they made a promise with Kuro. If they ever needed to evacuate, they would meet back up at the bunker. Well, they keep running because all the smoke and the fire and the destruction, nobody knows what's happening next. And also, it's a cat. It didn't understand that promise. They don't know. But when they get back to the village, Kuro's at the bomb shelter. Kuro didn't make it. He died. He did understand the promise. They cry, bury him, and Kuro becomes a star in the night sky for you and me. I give this one, yo, it was sad. Like, I didn't read the summary, so I didn't know what I was getting into. Out of 10. Up next, releasing June 21st, 1990, Cyber City Oedo 808. This is 3 40-minute episodes. This one stars our criminals Sengoku, Goggles, and Benten in the year 2808. They're criminals with multiple life sentences, and they get a chance to shave some of that time off by working for the cyber police. And they have to wear these collars around their neck that will explode if they try to take them off or if they disobey orders. This was probably a fresh take 30 years ago. Each episode does a different case and they all work together, but there's a different main focus character per episode. First up, Sengoku. He wakes up and drinks some milk and gets his assignment. There's a skyscraper that's cartoon high up in the clouds. It's in space. And someone has hacked its computer and is holding the people inside hostage. And it's their job to go in and save everyone. Goggles is hacking away at the mainframe. Benten straight up stands in the hallway dodging lasers most of the episode. Sengoku gets into the air ducts, runs around and gets to Kurokawa, the boss of the skyscraper. Apparently, the guy behind this attack, Amachi, went missing 15 years ago. They deal with the building some more, trying to kill them until Sengoku asks Kurokawa why Amachi's after him, because he pushed him to his death, of course, to secure his own spot at the top. After that, Sengoku disables the laser hallway, and Benten just looks silly. What you do? You been in here dodging lasers, man? I fixed it. Dodge nothing. They find Amachi's location in the building and start making their way towards him. We're on a timer though, because Amachi is going to use a space laser to destroy the building, and Goggles has to counter hack him, the mainframe. Hasegawa orders Sengoku to kill Kurokawa, but he won't do it. Let the courts decide, which is odd. You would think it would be the opposite, right? He's the criminal, he should just want to kill him, and his boss, Hasegawa, he's the head of the cyber police. You would think he would be like, let's do this right. Anyways, Sengoku finds Amachi, and his body has just morphed with these cables, and has become part human, part machine, and can also predict his moves. So he just walks straight forward. Can't predict a simple walk forward, huh? He goes up, destroys computer Amachi, and saves the day. But he went against orders, and he didn't kill Kurokawa, so he doesn't get any of his time off. What you gonna do? Episode 2 is about Goggles. There's a special forces, and they are making psychic cyborgs that will replace cops and soldiers called marukos. Goggles meets up with his old friend Sarah, and the special forces use her to set up Goggles. They want to make it look like he stole data from them. Then they hit up Hasegawa and say, yo, one of your guys stole from us, but we're gonna hunt him down. He's still a criminal, and we're gonna use this new weapon. They want to test out the marukos against Goggles. Hasegawa calls Goggles and he says, hey, you better kill that cyborg or he's gonna blow up his collar. Meanwhile, Sengoku and Benten break into the enemy's base to prove they're into some shady stuff. Sarah admits she betrayed Goggles. She did it to get herself out of trouble. The cyborg shows up, and Sarah takes the truck and crashes it into him. But it's fine. The truck lands in the water and she drowns. Now the special forces capture Goggles and they give him a gun and make him fight the cyborg. Now this thing is bullet resistant, has real stretchy arms and legs, is incredibly strong, and has psychic powers. And Goggles runs around and loses for most of the fight. He gets stabbed in the tummy. And then he gets saved by his homies. Hasegawa shows up to accuse the special forces of their crimes, and then he tells Goggles to kill that thing right now. Yeah, okay, like he wasn't trying to do that the whole time. He gets to his vehicle, shoots these missiles at it, and he crashes into it. But that thing is still going. Then he picks up a girder and he hits it while he's injured. He's strong. I can't pick up no girder. Then he learns something. Sound messes it up. When the girder hit it, it echoed this noise, and the marukos can't handle it. So they play the girder sound until he hits it with this super rappa, and he wins the fight. They arrest the special forces guys and save the day. Episode 3 is about Benten. One day he finds a watch called the Omnitrix that can turn him into different aliens. Nah, this one's about vampires. You see, Ben 10 is magnificent. One night he has a mysterious conversation with this lady of the night who vanishes shortly after. What? The next day they find someone who's been vampire killed. Ben 10 goes out and picks up some leads from the usual punks and the kingpin. He follows his leads to the moon, where he has to take a special space elevator, then fights a saber-toothed tiger, and they learn about an immortality virus that gives people psychic abilities. This doctor, Shuzuo, is an old man now, and he was experimenting on people with that virus, messing up their lives and trying to create immortality for himself. Remy is one of those people and the lady of the night he spoke with earlier. He runs into an old friend, Kelly, who's been hired to kill him by Shuzo, and they have a duel in a tunnel, and he kills her. Remy has the virus. Basically, she's a vampire. She hates Shuzo for giving her this immortality. Ugh, how dare he make me young and pretty forever. Now she's going to kill him, and Ben 10's after him, and before he goes up there, Goggles gives him this serum that will negate the virus, but he's got to stab the vampire in the heart. Remy tries to kill Shuzo, but it's too late. Now he's a super vampire. He is jacked and can teleport. It's a terrifying mix, and he sucks her blood. Ben 10 shows up, and he is outmatched. Dude can teleport quick, and he can regenerate quick, and is jacked. Did I say that? Ben 10 sends him out the airlock where he explodes. Good, that's a good job. But he just teleports back inside and heals, and now he's naked and jacked with a gun. He can only lose to being stupid, which he is. He lets Ben 10 get too close, and he stabs him in the chest with the serum, and he dies. Then Ben 10 puts Remy in a cryopod and sends her out into space, alive. She wasn't dead. It ends. I give this one, Ben 10 has that sharp wire as a weapon, and that is such a 90s anime weapon. Classic. Out of 10. Up next, releasing June 30th, 1990, Record of Lodoss War. This is 13 episodes starring our hero, Parn. He's from a small village where one day a villager is about to get attacked by goblins when he comes up and saves her. And this upsets the town because now the goblins will want revenge. You gotta just let them eat her, Parn. You done goofed, Parn. Also, his friend Ito is back in town from his 4-year trip to become a priest of Phallus. Well, the goblins are acting funny anyways. The leader of the goblin, he makes them go all red-eyed. They usually only come out at night, and he's making them come out in daytime. What's going on? Later that day, Parn and Ito, they're gonna go ambush the goblins' home, but the goblins aren't there. Indeed, the elf shows up and tells them the goblins are attacking their village, so they get back to the village. When they get back, things are bad, but they've got some help. Gim the dwarf and Slain the mage. Parn gets into a sword fight with the leader of the goblins, and while he's still a novice swordsman, with some help from Slain, he defeats the goblin boss. And that night, the village meets and they want to exile Parn. Well, the mayor says, nah, I've decided to send him into the world to figure out what's going on out there because things are getting real weird in Lodoss. So instead of exile, yeah, we're not exiling him, we're just sending him on a mission. Wink, nudge, nudge, huh? Parn, he dons his father's armor, burns his house down for some reason, then sets off on his journey. But he's not alone. He gets some companions with their own goals. Ito, his priest friend who wants to help him out. Gim, the dwarf, was looking for his friend's daughter, Lelia. Slain, he's Gim's friend and he's helping him out. Indeed, the high elf, who's just traveling with them. Cut to the evil land Marmo. Here we have the evil King Beld and his evil lieutenants Ashram and Wagner and the evil witch Carla. They're all plotting and doing evil things. Back to our heroes. On the road, Gim teaches Parn how to fight a little bit. They get attacked by some creatures and then saved by some soldiers who arrest them because they might be spies. They meet Woodchuck, the thief, in jail. And they get freed from the prison because the leader of the stronghold, he shows up and he's like, hey, I'm sorry about that, but there's war coming. You can't be too careful. Parn spars a little bit with the leader of this place and he gets an offer to join the army. That night, Marmo attacks though, defeating the troops here with ease. And Captain Jebra, he tells Parn, go, escape. And he gets out of there with his friends. And before they leave, they go get Woodchuck out of prison. And he joins the group. They head to the capital to warn them of the Marmo forces, and they get denied entrance. So they leave, and they're like, hey, you want to just go to the forest and no return? Yeah, sure. And they all start seeing visions that mess with them. Eventually, they make it out of the forest and no return. And then they save the Princess Fiona from the evil Carla, who turns out to be Lelia. That's the woman that Gim's looking for. Also, she just gives them the princess. She could have won pretty easy. What's going on there? And this lets them go meet with the king, who invites them to a ball. And I know it might feel like I'm moving quick, but that's because they're moving quick. At the ball, they dance, and Parn meets the mercenary king, Kazu, and he trains with him for a little bit. He just goes places and trains everywhere he goes. They get word that the Marmo forces are closing in, and the king sends Parn and his friends on a mission to go ask the wizard Wart how to stop the witch Carla. And then I was confused, because after episode 5 is when episode 1 takes place. And by this point, I had forgotten about episode 1. What you should do, if you want to watch it in chronological order, you skip 1, start with 2, and then after 5, go back and watch 1. So they got to travel through this tunnel, ruined dungeon, fighting creatures, and dealing with traps, and they defeat a dragon. They get to Wart, and they learn that Carla is in the tiara, and she's taking over the body of whoever wears it. And Carla's been around for hundreds of years, manipulating history. They split into 2 groups. Parn's group goes to the king with this information. Gim and Slain, they stay behind. And then the big battle starts. Marmo forces are closing in, so the good guy's army goes to meet them. And the armies are fighting for a while until the leaders have a duel. King versus king. King Fawn versus the evil Beldo. And after a battle, Beld wins. But then, right after he's killed by Carla, her goal is to never let Lodoss be conquered by one faction, to always have it divided. After she kills Beld, these 5 orbs shoot up into the sky, and then it wakes up the 5 elemental dragons: ice, water, earth, fire, and of course, black. The war is kind of on pause after this, so our heroes regroup to find Carla. On the way there, they meet Shorisu and Orson. Orson's a berserker and really strong, and other characters seem to be very wary of berserkers. After a misunderstanding fight, they become friends. Then they get to Carla's castle, and after a fight where they mostly get beat up during it, Gim manages to get through to Layla inside of Carla, and that weakens her enough for them to remove the circlet. But after the fight, Gim dies from a fatal wound. But Layla is free, and the circlet, it takes over Woodchuck's body. Then he goes off. Now the new problem is the big fire dragon. Also, this evil mage Wagnard has a new evil plan. He needs a special staff that the red dragon has in its treasure hoard, plus he needs to sacrifice a high elf to summon the evil god Cardis. They try to capture Deed, but our heroes fight them off. The fire dragon's causing problems for regular people too, so the good guys and the bad guys, they're after the fire dragon at the same time, and they all end up at his lair. Parn and his crew have these special spears that will seal the dragon, and the fight's looking perilous, but they manage to put it down. But the bad guys get away with the staff. And then during the commotion, Wagnard kidnaps Deed. And then after Parn recovers from the fight, he gathers his friends and they go to get Deed back and stop Wagnard. The guy from earlier, Ashram, during all that, he had this dark elf girl that he really liked, and she died during the fight, and he supposedly died. He also took Beld's evil sword and he's been practicing to get better with it, but he didn't die during that fight. No, he's up. Now he's gonna go kill Wagnard too. Wagnard starts the ritual to bring back the evil Cardis. On the way to Wagnard, Slain and Kalia have to stay behind. Then the earth dragon starts fighting the black dragon in the sky. Woodchuck Carla, they don't want Cardis to come back, so they help our heroes out too. And then also on the way to the fight, Ito has to stay behind to fight their spirit while Parn moves on to go save Deed. This is the first time that Ito has done anything other than heal people, which is useful. I'm just saying, I didn't know he could fight. Now, the fight with Wagnard, Parn, and Ashram begins in Wagnard's evil lair while the ritual's going on. Wagnard has the clear advantage, as the bad guys often do, winning and throwing them around until they get one hit in and it kills them. But not really. He comes back and he kills Ashram, and using the last of his power, he tries to finish the ritual before dying himself. But Parn uses these 2 legendary swords, one from the good king and one from the evil king, to free Deed from the spell. The black dragon loses outside, and Carla disappears, and they win. At the kingdom, they're awarded and lauded, everybody's happy. Parn and Deed, they continue their journey through Lodoss, and the show ends. A lot happens in 13 episodes. So I looked it up. This was based on some fantasy novels by Ryo Mizuno, and he originally created this as a setting for a tabletop game. And I think that a lot of what happens here is based off of the game he played with his friends. So that's why it can feel like kind of crazy. Like they just go do one thing to the next thing, kind of like a, like a game of D&D. I give it a, for most of the show, I couldn't tell if Ito was bald or if this thing up here was a little hat. Then he slid down this hill and he went to keep the hat from falling off. So yeah, it's a hat out of 10. Up next, releasing July 29th, 1990, Karasu Tengu Kabuto. This one's 39 episodes and it stars our hero Kabuto. Kabuto is the last member of the Tengu clan and the grandson of the man who sealed away this demon dude, Doki. A tengu in this show is mostly a person, but they can sprout these wings. Doki is back and he wants to kill Kabuto. He's sick of these ninjas and weird dudes on him. But Kabuto ain't no punk. He got mad ninja skills and he knows what he must do. He has to gather the 4 gods of the cardinal directions and other things to defeat Doki. First, he goes and gets the Yoken Hiryu, a cursed sword that thirsts for blood, and it talks. He awakens the first god, Akatengu. Look at this Grinch-ass looking dog. Then he sets a trap. He lures in the enemy and has to defeat these evil ninjas on flying segways that shoot fire. And Akatengu, he helps beat them up. Now they have to gather the other gods. All of that was episode 1. The other 3 gods, he gets them in episode 2. And the group has been assembled. And Akatengu had me messed up because I thought he was setting the standard for how all these gods were gonna look. Nah, the other ones, they just look like people. Akatengu of the south. Bianca, regular man with a flange of the west. Suzaku, woman with her flute and needles of the north. Seryu, little ninja boy with spinning tops of the east. Spinning bird kick. What does Kabuto do for the rest of the show then, you might ask? They go around collecting items, getting stronger, defeating evil minions, and learning how to defeat Doki. They gotta fight these ninjas in kites that shoot lightning. Yo, they fight this metal goat person for, I swear, 4 episodes. And Suzaku, man, she gets kidnapped a lot. Man, Grinch dog gets cut in half. It broke my heart. Gotta fight this jack monkey with twirling sticks. This purple crawfish with a naked girl on top. You see, that's what I was expecting more of from this show. Enemies like that. It was tamer than I thought it would be. It was still weird, but not as weird as some of these other ones. Look at this big tree. It's got toes. Bianca bites a sword in half. This one time, Kabuto just calls when he shows up. One time he gets stuck in a magic bottle by a monkey demon. The final battle at Doki's castle gets wild. Doki has an evil ancient sky castle with tank treads, by the way. Everyone's pushed to their limits and Doki's almost opened the door to hell. And then the castle gets surrounded by a tornado and then that sends it to the moon. And on the moon, the sky castle crashes. And Doki and Kabuto have their final battle. A skilled sword fight where Doki shows off his great power. Slow moving blue fire. Also blue explosions, which are way better. Just do that one. All looks hopeless. But Kabuto, through the power of friendship, his 4 god friends send him their power. And he gets back up. One final running and yelling at each other. And Kabuto does it. He defeats Doki. He gets back to Earth somehow, and that's the show. A happy ending and well-deserved for our heroes. I give this one, they have a giant golden dragon swastika mech. Out of 10. Up next, releasing July 27th, 1990, 1919. That's the name of the show. I didn't just say 1919. That's not the year. That's the name of the show. This is a 40-minute OVA based on a manga and seems to blast through the story. I'm not sure how many chapters it covers, but the art's pretty cool. And they'll just do montages of pictures to like these just great songs. All the music in this one is great. This might have just been an ad for the album that plays during this. It's about Kabuto, who just wants a girlfriend. My man goes to a club looking for girls in a whole suit. He's just suited. He's never gotten over this girl Fujisaka from middle school. But he meets her again as an adult and they start dating. She's not entirely over her ex though. Her ex comes over to get his stuff from her place while Kabuto's over there and they was about to get it on, but she clearly can't get over him. So Kabuto decides, man, nah, I can't be with somebody who's in love with someone else. Not even just for smoochy times. Not even just for naked bus smacks. Nah, I can't do that. Then his friends pick him up and they go out. What absolute homie. He wears a suit to the beach, man. He just wears a suit everywhere. Look at his pizza hat. The opening song is smooth. Again, all the music was great. I give this one, his boss touching his butt too much. That's not okay. That's sexual harassment. Out of 10. Up next, releasing July 29th, 1990, The Great Adventures of Robin Hood. This was 52 episodes. The dub opening is so old cartoon. The difference between an English opening and a Japanese opening is night and day. In the English version, it says, what's the name of the character? Robin Hood? Well, let's just repeat that over and over again and maybe throw a few more words in there. In the Japanese ones, it's like there's a power ballad of how I'm in love with the moon, but it's forbidden, and one day I will ascend to godhood. Also, the dub is so bad it's funny, so that's what I watched. The evil Baron Alwyn burns down our hero Robin's family home because they went against him. Robin and his cousins, they escape to the Sherwood Forest, and soon he meets other kids who live in there, like Big John and his Lost Boys. also Friar Tuck, Marion is gonna be married off to the evil Bishop Hartford, but she doesn't want to. All the usual suspects from a Robin Hood story, except the kids version. And they do what Robin Hood did, you know, they steal from the rich. It's usually in nuisance kid ways. They stop the bad guys but aren't trying to kill them. Well, these bad guys are very down to murder these children. Later in the show, he's gonna stop the marriage between Marion and the bishop. If they put this crown on her, it's done. She's married. So he sneaks into the castle and he lines up an arrow. Boom! He breaks the crown. Now, where do you think he shot this arrow from? 1, he angles a shot from a nearby tower. Oh, he's a good shot. B, up in the balcony, hidden away. Or right in the middle of everybody. The answer is or. The show is them dealing with all of that and even arguing with each other. One day they meet the king who has amnesia, and at the end he takes back his throne, and then he tries to make Robin a knight because they treated him good when he was in the forest, but Robin wants to spend the rest of his days in Sherwood Forest. All in all, it was fine. It gets very repetitive, but I mean, I binged it. You know, if it came out weekly, it's a kid show. What am I trying to defend? It's a kid show. I give this one the majestic white stag returning to the Sherwood Forest. Out of 10. Up next, releasing August 25th, 1990, Eiji. This is a 45-minute OVA based on 7 chapters of manga, so it's not that long. This one stars our guy, Eiji. His dad was a good boxer, but towards the end of his career, he couldn't win. He was all washed up. So Eiji never saw his dad being a good boxer because he was born after his prime. His older brother, though, he got to see his dad being the best in the world. So he wants to follow in his father's footsteps. Eiji, nah, he's in a band and he likes to mess around. My man just likes to get it. He just likes to mess around. Except he gets into a fight when he gets kicked out of the band. He goes home, listens to loud music, he's about to break his guitar out of anger, but he goes, nah, that's expensive. I feel you, homie. Burning Blood would have thrown that shit in the ocean. He meets the old man that trained his father, and the old man wants to train Eiji because he can tell, oh man, this kid's got some good. He's got a lot of talent. But Eiji's not about it. Well, this is Kusanagi, and he ain't about the hoes. He's about boxing. He's the best high school boxer around, and he goes to Eiji's school. And after Eiji's crush confesses to Kusanagi, and he turns up to Eiji's family gym, and he talks trash about Eiji's older brother, Eiji punches him. What? Then after Eiji's brother loses a title fight, Eiji was watching and he sees how cool his big brother is. He gave it his all. And even though he lost, Eiji decides to take up boxing. I wonder what happens in the manga. I don't know. I give it the classic sticking your fingers up the dude's butt scene out of 10. Up next, releasing September 9th, 1990, Magical Taruruuto Kun. This one is 87 episodes, and unfortunately I couldn't find the whole show translated anywhere, but I'll do my best. This one stars our 5th grader Hanmaru. He goes to school, has a crush on Iona, deals with a bully and a tough teacher that gives them spankings, which is wild when you think about it, if that was real. His dad's also kind of mean, but a decent dude. Papa writes books or something, and he's got a lot of books in his office. One day, Hanmaru is near this book here and asks the universe for help when this little magic fella pops out of the book. And this is Taru. Taru is pretty much a god. His magic seems to be unlimited, except anything he creates or causes only lasts 10 minutes. And he offers Hanmaru a wish. Hanmaru wishes for one wish every day, but that doesn't work. There's a clause for that. So he wishes for them to be friends. The show is about their day-to-day wacky mishaps. Everything I said gives this the making of a kid's show. And for the most part, it is, but it's a little ecchi. A few times, Taru gets x-ray goggles and looks at girls naked. Once Taru froze time so Hanmaru could sneak into his teacher's house and cheat on a test. While he's in there, she was working out and he just starts smacking her butt and checking her out. Pretty good. Taru's got a big silly tongue and he'll lick you with it. He'll tickle your foot. One day, Taru wants to see what school is like, so he turns tiny and he sneaks in to check it out. Well, he gets bored and he's on Hanmaru's desk and he has his pencil where he draws a smiley face on an object. It becomes sentient. And he does that to Hanmaru supplies and he starts sumoing them and just having fun on it. It was like an episode of Tonari no Seki-kun. I liked it. It was funny. Yo, we got them handles on the court. Oh, Taru's also got a little girlfriend, Momora. And one time she laughs so hard, it destroys Hanmaru's house. Then she lights it on fire and it makes it into this rock and then makes that into a mushroom house. Oh, they play dodgeball. And this is Haruko. He is in their class and they act like he's a 5th grader, but he isn't. He a grown anime man. He practices for dodgeball by shooting the balls out of a cannon at himself. Then they play a game and both sides cheat like crazy. Taru uses magic. Haruko, he's about to get hit with a ball and he has his butler and the butler shoots it with a gun. Y'all look at his face. Look at this nonsense. I love anime dodgeball. It's a classic. Or any anime sport, really. They take it to the best height. I found the last episode untranslated and it looks like it flashes forward and they all graduate high school. This show was chill most of the time when it wasn't ecchi. I give it the time that Hanmaru sumoed a bear out of 10. Up next, releasing September 10th, 1990, Every Day is Sunday. This is 6 episodes based on 2 volumes of manga, and as we all know, this show released a few episodes over a few years, but hey, I figured we could just watch it all at once because we all knew that. It opens up, a man is chasing a girl in the rain and she's holding some McDonald's. She keeps screaming, "Leave me alone," and he says, "No, you don't understand." Now I made this joke in my head. I said, "Yo lady, he just wants a cheeseburger." She runs into the street and he pushes her out of the way in that truck that kills anime protagonist. It hits his hand. It gives him this scar. It probably hits more of them, but mostly his hand here. While he's in the street, he says, "I just wanted some of that food." Oh, my joke was prophetic. The girl running in the street is our hero Yumi. She just finished police school and she's a fresh cadet, and she has an assignment to turn in an essay on why she became a cop. She became a police officer because she loves justice, because she wants to find her prince. She doesn't do the essay yet though. Yo, her first day on the job, she hears a lady scream and gets so hyped to go help her out. It's a purse snatcher, and she follows him and arrests him, but she got the wrong guy. This is Ichidachi Toru, a magician and dressed like Ryo from City Hunter. She notices that this guy kind of looks the same as the guy who saved her life, and he has the same scar on his hand. She asks him out on a date for arresting the wrong guy. She tries on outfits. Yo, like, I was thinking about this when I was watching it. They had to draw all that. Like, some of those outfits don't get used. Somebody had to draw unused outfits. They go hit the park, get some ice cream. He doesn't remember her yet. He sees the real pickpocket from the other day who's wearing a sick shirt. He keeps an eye on him while getting the cops involved. And I'm lying. He does follow him, and he watches him steal someone's wallet. Then he goes up to the pickpocket, steals that wallet from him, takes it back to the owner with some sleight of hand, and then the pickpocket's clothes just rip off and his hair is cut and he gets arrested for being naked. Yo, Toru was only next to him for maybe 5 seconds. Less, for real. That isn't just regular street magic. That's real magic. It was funny though. There's a second pickpocket though, and they spot him and they start chasing him. But while they're chasing him, Yumi almost gets hit by that truck again. And Toru, he pushes her out of the way. And that makes him remember, oh yeah, the one other time I did this. They're distracted doing that, right? Well, the pickpocket, he's running so hard. He's jumping on roofs and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but they weren't even behind him. And when he gets out of this alleyway, he just ends up right in front of them. And they have a fight. Wow, it's pretty funny. Yumi's beating him up and he tries to run. Well, Toru's standing at the end of the alleyway and he starts juggling. He just starts, "Hey, look at these. What's up, man? Whoa." And dude just watches and Yumi comes up and hits him with that suplex. Knocks him out, man. He got completely Darren Brown. They make the arrest. That night, she's back at her essay. Why did she become a police officer? To team up with a magician and become a famous duo one day. She wrote that down and got an F. I would have gave her an A for sure. Also, there's another billboard with an advertisement for books. Do they sell books here? Or is it just encouraging people to read? What's going on with these billboards for books? Multiple shows. They get a case where they gotta stop these people from smuggling gems, and they do that. At the end of it, they bust the bad guys, and Ichidachi, he helped out, and it turns out that he stole one of the gems. Yo, my man, I would've too. In episode 3, he does a little magic trick, then explains to us, the people at home, how he did it. Yo, I like a little kids show. That was fun. And then they all get sloshed, dog getting turned. Yumi gets drunk too, but she's supposed to be stopping people from getting drunk. So she ends up fighting everybody. She's like, "You gotta beat me if you want to drink." And she's just beating everybody up. All the opening song, it was the same song, but some of the animations were changed during it, which is always fun. I like this one where Ichidachi's just throwing bombs and he just got looking playing with these fans. One time Yumi was chasing a purse snatcher with a grin. She loves being a cop and she peeks when she tells him to stop. She grabs that dude and throws him, and he lands on Ichidachi. He breaks his leg, and now he can't enter the sumo tournament he was gonna enter. So she enters for him, but it's a trick. It's a little trick. They just want her to enter because they want to win, and she's really good. She gets to the finals, and look at this beefer, dog. She gets disqualified and they lose, but they decide to go to the beach anyways. This was a fun show. It's a good mix of genres. Cozy rom-com and action. I give it the time Yumi was held down by cartoon weights at the bottom of a pool drowning, and her friend who hates her laughed. And when she went and surfaced, she said, "Yeah, I don't know where Yumi is. She must have gone to the bathroom. She was gonna let her die." Out of 10. Up next, releasing October 1st, 1990, Majuu Sensen. This is 3 45-minute episodes based on a manga with 4 volumes, and this one here is a bit weird. And I may not have understood everything, but I'll do my best. That train, man, there's There's just no rails. This is Shinichi. He was experimented on by 13 scientists, one of them being his father. His mother was also part of the experiment, but he's starting to fall apart and she dies saving his life, giving up her life for his. Now he has wild beast powers and apparently can control the cells in his body to make animals, like make his body parts animals. He can do or shoot, you'll see. He wants revenge on the 13 scientists that experimented on him and killed his mother. The 13 of them also have a goal of creating new humans. They think that humanity is done. It's run its course. They did the planet dirty, so they're making new humans that are combined with beasts, and they call themselves apostles. This gets pretty biblical. They make arks to hold people and cause floods, and are trying to summon God. Shinichi meets Maria, who's supposed to be Mary Magdalene from the Bible, and he saves her and her grandpa from some street thugs. Grandpa, he can see the future, and he tells Shinichi about a vision he had where the world was destroyed by floods and other catastrophes, and that 13 apostles would show up when it was time for God to return, and that Shinichi would have to fight God. He tells him all this. Maria can see the future too later, maybe not now, but she also has some control over the Beastmen. She also has a little brother, but he couldn't be more of a side character. Maria's people get attacked and her grandpa dies, and after that she starts traveling with Shinichi as he kills Beastmen and scientists. Look at this, he gets into a fight with one and they go to do a centaurish thing, but instead they just make he makes the whole bear on the bottom and his torso is up top instead of half bear, and the other guy's the same thing but with a gorilla. Whenever Shinichi bathes in blood, it heals him. He can also shoot a lion out of his chest. He kills a couple apostles, fights a bunch of beastmen, and they definitely left some things out, because by episode 2 there are only 4 scientists left. Look, this show is a big mess and kind of confusing, but I do like Shinichi somewhat, because he doesn't hesitate. He sees one of the guys that killed his mom, he tries to kill him, and he often does. He's laser focused on that. This guy here, Shinichi just killed his dad because his dad was one of the scientists. Well, our guy goes over and starts crying over his dad's body. Oh man, how sad. Maria says, Shinichi, let him grieve over his parent. He's like you. Shinichi, in response, runs up and punches his head off. Professor Judas is one of the 13 professors, but now he's betraying them and helping Shinichi. And this is Jim, Judas' son. Well, it doesn't work out because they want to run experiments on Maria. He's not about that. And they die pretty quick anyways. Later, he gets into a fight with his dad, and Papa's got powers like him. They have a fight, and look at this. He's holding him, and then he's holding him, but Papa, it's kind of like paper, rock, scissors, but with lion and crocodile. And that crocodile thing comes up a good bit. Every time Shinichi fights his dad, he whips out that damn crocodile thing. They kidnap Maria, and I believe 3 years pass while she's unconscious, and they use her to see the future. Also, they made her a centaur. Well, Shinichi's still on his grind. He kills one of the scientists in front of the scientist's daughter. He's trying to get Maria back, and it's time for the final fight with his father. In the snow, everything's crazy. With the help of Maria's shining light power, Papa can't move during the fight because Shinichi was getting beat, but Papa shoots a lion out of his chest just to stop Maria. And Shinichi gets up, and they fight some more, all biting animal hands until he wins. Well, Maria, she dies from that lion. And in the manga, Shinichi, he eats her body, so maybe he did that off camera here, but right after that, Shinichi turns into this white-haired monkey form, then flies off to fight God, which I think is lava or red water. He also has a sword. I don't know where he got it. That's it. Look, I'm sorry if you didn't get what I did my best. I swear. I give it, the dude has tigers for hands. Out of 10. Up next, releasing October 6, 1990, RPG legend Heppoi. This was another one I could only find a few episodes of. I'll give you the gist. Immediately, the opening song kills it. I'll let you know everything up front. The design of these characters is pretty wacky, but the tone is serious. There was a war a long time ago, but a hero gave up his life to put both sides to sleep. But now an evil fella has woken up and he's getting the bad guy. The evil guys are trying to find heroes and get rid of them before they become a problem. So they got this cat girl who can sense heroes, and they're going village to village, making see if she senses people. Well, there's this one village where you can pull this sword out of a stone, and they're making everybody in the village try that because only the hero can do it. And when they find the hero, they'll just ambush him there, which is smart. Heppoi, this little naked puppet boy, at first I was like, what is this thing? But then he gets stitched up after a run-in with the evil dudes, and they put a crown on his head. You learn he's a puppet. He's told that he's got to go wake up all the heroes and save the world. After some fighting, Heppoi manages to pull the sword from the stone. With the help of that cat girl and this prince, he travels the land, defeating evil and awakening the warriors of old. He's got to get these coins to wake up the good castles. I went to the last episode and watched it raw because I found that that, and he does it. I'm not sure how he does it, but he does it with the power of still images of nature behind him. He defeats the evil Dracooness. Again, sorry, some of these shows are really old and I just can't find them all. I give it Drill Gorilla has an alarm clock in his drill hand out of 10. Up next, releasing October 18th, 1990, the Three-Eyed One. This one has a game for the Famicom and some other system. Sharaku's a little fella with a third eye. He's a descendant of a race of three-eyed people who had great powers but were kind of mean. And when they keep his third eye covered up, he's a nice little boy, a little too nice, a little too rad. He gets bullied, but you take it off and he's borderline evil. Often he's right at evil's door knocking, and sometimes he's pretty evil, but he typically goes back on it. It'll be, yo, he made a giant dinosaur out of cans to scare everybody. But really, these other guys made the dinosaur and he's controlling it to teach them a lesson and foil their plot. And other times he does try to destroy the world and he gets pretty close. A typical episode is him with the bandage on, it falls off, he goes evil and starts doing bad things. Just do bad things. Wato, one of his classmates, his father, or his uncle, they get the bandage back and the day is saved, they put it back on. Also, sometimes it's just straight up villains. He's gotta be like this giant robot. He's got a marble that he throws up in the air and it turns into a ship that he travels around on. He's got a powerful spear and this bird. In the opening song, this goofy looking bird, I kept my eyes peeled for it the whole show and I'm like, where is it? Where's this bird? I see he's in the opening song. Then finally, in episode 18, it shows up. It's a moa and it's got a special ability. It can really pucker up its butt cheeks and shoot out air to make it go very fast. And it's very dumb looking and makes for funny situations during serious moments. It's got a mama. Look at this mama bird. It's running from these poachers and the mama dies. The poachers, they hurt it too much and it falls down and dies. They take the baby and our heroes walk away. Sad. Then the poachers come back and light the body on fire. So our heroes come back because they see the fire burn. Like, nah, man, y'all couldn't just win. Y'all had to like rub it in, huh? And Sharaku's fighting him. Oh, our guy's getting beaten up. He gets tied to a tree and shot with a machine gun. And it's fine. He's got a little force field. He gets a little hurt, but the little moa gets shot and he gets mad and he beats the bad guys and he heals the moa. So that's fine. Yay. Oh, his people's lore. He's from an ancient race of three-eyed people who had a great civilization but fell to greed and other follies. He reads an ancient tablet from an ancestor saying that he needs to destroy the world and get rid of evil because the world is evil. He needs to like reset it. That took them 3 episodes to tell us. Look at this cover and tell me it's not a kid's show. It looks like a slightly magical Caillou with a third eye. Well, let me tell you, there's more guns than you would think. It's not a kid's show. It's a show with kids in it. That big butt bird, it gets shot and dies. The final boss, she's winning. She's another 3-eye. She's winning 100%. Her magic is better than Sharaku's. She's beating him silly. But this guy here, he shoots her in the head. That simple. She dies and then he dies from his injury. Then Wato, she like speaks to the sky god and the world is saved. The world isn't destroyed because she was nice to it. That's it. I give it restaurant name Doolies. I love the dumb restaurant names in anime so they can, while they're avoiding the real restaurant names. Out of 10. Up next, releasing October 25th, 1990, the Hakkenden, Legend of the Dog Warriors. It's based on a Japanese novel from the 1800s. This opens up in ancient Japan. The Satomi clan is at war and losing, so the head of the clan, about to lose it all, turns to his dog, Yatsufusa. What about you, Yatsufusa? Will you kill the enemy leader for me? I'll give you anything you want. Riches, lands, you can even marry my daughter, Princess Fuse. Just a sad, desperate man talking to his dog. Well, Yatsufusa, he took that to heart. He goes and kills the enemy leader and brings his head, then expects to marry the princess. They're talking like, how could you have made that deal? Yo, I thought I was talking to a dog. I can't even get him to roll over. I didn't think this would happen. The princess says if we don't hold to our promise, we're no better than the enemy. So she agrees to marry the dog. You're a dog, huh? She tells them that they'll live in exile so they don't bring shame on the family. She gets on the dog and they fly off into the woods, never previously showing that the dog had any kind of abilities, let alone flight. They live in the woods for a year, near each other, but she doesn't let the dog get close. She's in the cave chilling. He tries to get in there. She's like, no, get away from me, Fusa. She has a dream that tells her she's gonna have 8 cursed half-breed dog kids and start seeing strange visions of what I think is her as a little girl near this bridge in a world with a red sky. Daisuke here, he heads over into the forest to kill Yatsufusa and free the princess. He's got a gun and he accidentally kills them both, which is an impressive shot, really. She dies and these 8 prayer beads she wears fly off into the different directions. Daisuke supposedly goes off to be a monk, but no one knows for sure. 1 year after her death, this woman is at a shrine and she prays for a son, and the princess's spirit shows up and gives her one. They name him Shino. 19 years later, Shino's all grown up. One day his fiance is in the woods and she's getting attacked. Her indentured servant Sosuke, he can't handle the attackers, so Shino protects her. He kills one of the attackers and it's his first kill, so he's pretty shook up about it. Shino's family protects this sword, the Murasame. It said whoever owns the sword will be the ruler of Kanto. Kanto region, huh? I'll beat the Elite Four. This here is Eboshi. We can all take one look at him and see that he is clearly evil. He wants the Murasame, and when Shino's dad won't give it up, he schemes. Oh yes, it's time to scheme. So the scheme, Eboshi acts like Shino's dog bit him, and his family must make up for it. His dad won't give up the sword though, so he must commit seppuku. Shino goes to try to stop him, and his dad, he puts him on the ground. He gets on top of him, and then he does it right on top of his son, which is intense. After that, Shino has to go home and put his dog down. That's when he gets his magic bead, like one of the ones that flew off from the princess's necklace. A couple months later, he decides to skip town. On his way out, he runs into Eboshi, but does a switcheroo on the Murasame without him noticing. Shino's aunt is Hamaji's mother, I believe they're cousins, but she's in cahoots with Eboshi, and she told Sosuke that he has to go and kill Shino and retrieve the Murasame, even though it's been switcherooed and she's on Eboshi's side. I guess he never told her that. While Shino's leaving on a boat, Sosuke jumps on it and rushes him and they fight. But that's when they realize that they both have matching birthmarks and weird beads. What's going on? They get to talking and learning about each other and decide not to fight. Yeah, you meet somebody else in the world that has a glowing magic bead and the same birthmark as you. Yeah, why fight? After they talk and get along for a little bit, Sosuke decides, I gotta go home. Shino says, yeah, you can just come with me. He's like, nah, I gotta go deal with this. Live my own life. Cut to this monk, Kenryu. He's dancing by fire near this tree, and people from all over come to watch him. Well, the ancient Japanese cops show up because he's an imposter. I know the real Kenryu when I see him dancing all wild by the fire. You're not him. They're about to shoot him, but instead of getting shot, he does some magic and disappears, and everybody leaves. No more monk dancing by the fire. Really, let's just go home. Meanwhile, Hamaji gets told that she's gonna be married off to somebody else. She gets sad. She tries to hang herself, falls, and passes out. Eboshi grabs her and takes her to that tree. We got the Murasame, and he's gonna do weird stuff to her, but Dosetsu shows up. He was dressed up as the monk earlier and is Hamaji's long-lost brother. He gets into a fight with Eboshi and is holding his own until Eboshi creates an illusion, and he gets him on that bridge with the red sky. Dosetsu rushes him and he thinks he's hitting Eboshi, but Dosetsu is really slashing Hamaji. And she's all dying now. Brother, I missed you. Yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you. He says it with about that much emotion. Eboshi left the Murasame behind, and Hamaji asks Dosetsu to take it to Shino, and then she dies. Dosetsu vows revenge. And then Sosuke shows up right then. And there's a clear misunderstanding here. He thinks Dosetsu killed Hamaji. They fight for a second, and during the fight, their beads swap sides without them noticing. Dosetsu gets away, and Sosuke is sad. And Shino, he's on his way to better things. That night, these people show up to Hamaji's mother's house, and they're really demons, and they kill her mother and her father and other people at the house. Sosuke shows up to tell them about Hamaji, but only fights demons, and he fights them. There's 2 of them, and every time he kills this little one, it multiplies, and he's about to die, but the bead activates and shines brighter. He throws the bead through the demon's head and wins. It makes him fly up into the sky and gets very bright. Then these people show up and think that he did all the killing, and they arrest him. And Eboshi was watching from up in a tree. 2 mysterious figures ask Shino about his birthmark and magic bead. They tell him that he should get rid of the Murasame before disappearing. He goes to present the Murasame to the rightful descendant, the current shogun. When they take it out though, they see it's a fake, and then they think it's an assassination attempt, and they ambush him without letting him explain. He runs from every guard in the castle, and then he runs into an Eboshi illusion for a second. Eboshi's like, haha, yeah, I'm just gonna keep messing with you. Yo, he snaps. He gets into his room where there's nothing but guards, and he's had a rough go of it lately. He beats up a few of the guards, and he smacks around the shogun. Since every single guard in the castle can't stop him, I'm telling you, he's on the roof just killing fools. They go to the dungeon and they get Kenpachi. They fight for a bit, destroying as much castle as they can along the way. Then both their beads start moving. What? Kenpachi has one too, and a storm forms and lightning strikes, destroying one of the castle's towers and sending them into the water. Later they get fished out of the sea and saved by Kobungo. He's a big fella who runs an inn, and he's real nice. He used to be drunk and got into a big brawl where his father died protecting him, so he gave up hurting people. He's got these 2 dogs here. Turns out him and Kenpachi are old friends. They all notice each other's beads. What's going on here? Kobungo lives with his sister, her son, and her husband Fusahachi. Fusahachi hears about the shogun looking for 2 people that match our hero's descriptions, and there's a reward, so he brings them to the inn. He goes in before any of the soldiers and tells them they have one last chance to turn these 2 over. Furious at this betrayal, Kobungo gets into into a sword fight with Fusahachi. Okay, the dominoes that fell into place here for this next thing to happen. Oh man. Fusahachi and Kobungo are fighting. Fusahachi throws dirt in Kobungo's eyes and he runs over to his wife and son. His wife is scared because of the fight and she's up against the wall. But her son, he's a baby and he's happy to see his dad, so he runs over to him. Kobungo, he removes the dirt from his eyes and he runs at Fusahachi. While Fusahachi, he moves his sword to attack. But at the same time, his wife is rushing over to grab the baby. So Fusahachi slashes her neck open. I was like, whoa, it happened so fast. Kobungo loses it after that and cuts Fusahachi's head off. But instead of 2 dead human bodies, oh, here go the rails. It's 2 dogs. It's the 2 dogs we saw Kobungo pet earlier. And they do not elaborate on this. That entire time, Aboshi, he was making Shino have weird dreams that went away when Shino got covered in dog blood. Like when the dog lost its head, the blood sprayed on him. And it stopped Aboshi's evil magic? Neat. Aboshi also makes the soldiers outside, so the head is a dog's head, but it's really Fusahachi's head, but it's not, and he makes them think that it's Shino's head. So the soldiers get that and they run away thinking they got the right person's head. The 4 of them, Genpachi, Shino, Kobungo, and the baby, who's not a puppy now, he's still just a baby. They leave and they meet up with these 2 monks, but we don't really see what it was about. I think they're the 2 mysterious figures that talked to Shino earlier. So now the group has a plan. Sosuke is being held prisoner and they plan to go get him. While Sosuke's in prison, he's hungry and he puts Dosetsu's bead in his mouth and it makes him feel better and it seems to get rid of some of the wounds on his face, but it cuts to Dosetsu and it seems to bother him. Kobungo goes to drop the baby off somewhere because they can't just be going around fighting while he's got a baby. The baby's name is Daihachi. Genpachi and Shino go head to Sosuke. On his way to go drop the baby off, Kobungo, he even says, what, did I even have a sister? What were those 2 dogs? On his way to drop the baby off, a bead shows up in Daihachi's hand. And then the princess shows back up and she says, yo, Daihachi, I need that baby right now. So she takes it away. And there's another monk standing behind Kobungo and we don't see what that's about. Genpachi and Shino learn that Yamagi is missing. They don't know that she's fully dead. The people here just think she's missing and that Sosuke is going to be executed tomorrow. Cut to tomorrow. It's tomorrow. They're about to crucify him tomorrow. The night before, they staked out the joint though and they got ready to save Sosuke. So when it's time, they bust out. And start beating up guards and they cut Sosuke down. They get cornered and they're about to get shot by this firing squad, but Kobungo shows up and he hits everyone with the fence and they start running away. And then Aboshi, he shows up and he tells them, I love making all of you suffer. I'm gonna make you wish you were all dead by the end of this, and I can't wait till all of you are together. He makes them see weird stuff and throws them in a whirlpool. I don't know. They pass out and the show ends. And there is a season 2, but it didn't come out till 1993, so I'll check it out when we get there. I'm pretty excited because I like this show and I want to see season 2. I like looking forward to things. You know, you don't always gotta binge everything. This was the right mix of cool and weird. I'm not sure what's happening often, but there's enough that I do understand and the characters are cool, so I don't feel like I'm out of the loop. And no one here is especially whiny or lame or anything. If they ever complain, it's like, well, yeah, they're having a rough go of it. These people have legitimate complaints. I give it a them chilling by the beach looks like an album cover out of 10. Up next, releasing November 17th, 1990, Ajin Senshi. So I couldn't find this subbed anywhere. I'm just gonna watch it and guess the plot based on what I see. Here, let me read you the synopsis off of my anime list. In the year 2200, an interstellar war is held where the weapons most frequently used are the psychic capacities. The hero, Zero, son of an earthling and an extraterrestrial, the prince and the last survivor of a clan of magicians. He will fight against the army of the Manjidara Empire, whose forces are such as its head ambition to control the whole universe. All right, Zero here is growing up on the mean streets of this place. He's the vagabond life. So one day this old man comes up and treats him to some dinner. He offers him a place on his ship. And to prove himself, he has to break into this house and steal this disc occult looking thing. This girl who is in the house decides to go with him. The 2 of them get stowed away onto this ship and the ship gets attacked by alien monkey pirates. Zero has a gun and he gets most of the bad guys and no one else seems to have a gun. I wonder why. It seems like it wins the fight. Her name, I believe, is Catherine, and she gets nabbed by the aliens. And now the crew is gonna go get her. So now he's not a stowaway anymore. He goes to the crew and he pays them a lot of this green stuff so that they'll work for him. They go to an alien slave auction and Catherine is there, but they lose the bid to this pompous gentleman with a cat. But once they see Zero's ring, they give up and run away. So our guys get Catherine. Except now she has that damn look in her eyes. And she ain't acting right. Zero asks how to fix her, and this guy tells him, so they go try that. Remember, I don't know this language, but that cat man shows up to ambush them. But he gets ambushed instead by these bugs in armor. We get some lore I can't understand, but lore has the same look in every language. Cloudy and cave etchings. The bug knights bring them to this castle, and there's an angry pillar in the castle, and they talk to it for a while. And Zero's ring can do magic things to Catherine's memory. And hear me out, I think I got something here. Catherine's mom cheated on her dad and slept with this alien king, and that's Johnny's dad. Catherine is his sister, and the castle gets attacked. This old man floats out of the angry pillar, and they fight back for a bit, but they get cornered until the castle turns into a golem. All the bad guys start praying to the golem. Catherine gets turned back to normal. The floating old man, he's controlling the golem, I think, and he turns to dust, and then the golem leads these troops to go defeat the evil Catman, and then the golem goes into space, and Zero gets new clothes. They run into more spaceships and beat those up. They get to these ruins in space. The golem crumbles when they get there, and then this evil redhead shows up, snaps their fingers, and pops the Catman. He's dead. Got crazy magic. Turns big whenever they want. The person they seem to betray at the start was Zero's father. I think I forgot to tell you that. At the start, it seemed like a man was being betrayed by this redheaded person. They used the disc that Zero stole at the start to mess him up, and he turns on his friends. Catherine snaps him out of it though, and then he hits the right mirror to beat the redhead. The ruins crumble, they get away, happy ending. That was fun. I like that. I just kind of look and guess what I saw and see what I say. Up next, 1991, baby, because we're done with 1990. All right, let me hit you with some stats. In those 40 shows, we had 6 chosen ones, 3 idols, 2 isekais, 2 magic girls, 3 boxing shows, 2 giant robot shows, 2 book billboards, more centaurs than I thought there would be, 3 clothing blow up attacks, and 6 characters crucified or hung up on cross type objects, and at least 5 orphans. And the truck's kill ratio is actually 0-4. And I'm gonna give it half a 1 because in the labyrinth show, it kills the guy, but not really because he got saved by the power of love and friendship. So, it's like 0-4.5. Draw. I got a draw. I couldn't find every show, but it should get easier the further we get into this. And that's it. Peace out. Love you. See you later.